Hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? I am so ready for this tonight. We got two really good guests, and I'm going to give them a grand welcome because they both deserve it. Absolutely. You've seen both of them on the channel before, but first, let's bring in the Mets game director, John DeMarsico. John, how we doing?
Good. How are you guys? Hey, what's up, everybody?
Doing wonderful. I sure wish that you had those trophies in the background for you tonight. But hey,
I'm out of town visiting my parents, so this actually worked out okay. I don't have the movies or the hardware, but we'll make it through.
We'll make it work, I guess. But and they're Emmys, not Oscars, so it makes sense.
Right.
Everybody that has not checked out some of John's greatest work, look at like best Mets broadcast on YouTube, and all of his clips will come up. That should be what it is, at least. John is amazing and does some really, really remarkable work. And in the other corner, we're going to have somebody that is on the channel quite frequently. And Jeremy is one of my closest friends that I've met through doing all of this. And now, let's bring on Mr. Jeremy Long. How we doing?
Hello. Good. How are you?
Doing well. Jeremy is finishing a couple things up, so we're going to let him finish. And I'm going to move him up next to John. But we are going to go into a lot of really fun stuff tonight. So, the first thing I wanted to say, Stan, hello. Sardis says, who really cares? I just want to see great films. That's what we're going to talk about first. So,
talking about first.
A lot of people hate these award shows, but there is an aspect of these that are important. So, first of all, they have a major impact on cinematic history. But the other thing, many of these directors and people involved in films that have gotten to make some of our favorite great films in history, some of them only happened because they were able to win an Oscar first on some other film. And that has inspired people, that has brought people to cultures and identities and films that they never would have seen prior. I'm going to try to reach out an olive leaf to everybody that is against them. So, John, what do you love about these award shows?
Oh man, these award shows are super important because, before I was a established cinephile that I am today, I would always look at who was nominated for the Academy Awards to figure out what am I going to watch for this year. What am I going to watch? We're going back, 10, 15 years now. At this point, I've tried to watch every movie that was nominated.
Yep.
For the last 15 years, and it's opened up doors and avenues of interest that I would have never gotten to if these movies weren't nominated. Obviously my interests have taken some U-turns here and there, and they don't always line up with what's nominated and what wins, but it's still an exercise that I enjoy doing every year because it's, like I said, it opens up interest and broadens my horizons to things that I may not know about.
It's a very good point. And this year especially, there's a lot of horizons that we are probably going to talk about. I've done my best to stay away from them, and that is my cue to bring your eyes to the banner going across the bottom of the page. All three of us have made a sacred pact to not pay attention to any of the nominations, and at this point, I believe I've not had anything major spoiled. John already said to me he's not had any major spoilers. Jeremy, how are we at your spoilage?
I know one thing that happened to pass across something when I was working today that I knew was a guaranteed lock anyway, so it's not really a spoiler. But other than that, I've managed to stay away from everything else.
That makes sense. Stan says the Oscars is basically a glorified industrial show, but I still enjoy them. Jeremy, are you done sending emails? Are we good to go?
For now.
I kind of feel like a third wheel right now. I'm used to seeing you guys just on the screen together, so this is like
it's really good to have you, John. Really good to have you, John.
I would have an Emmy winner as a third wheel at any point in my life and be happy with it.
And he's wearing a new Beverly Cinema shirt. Anybody?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be on tonight. I had to
say no more. You're welcome anywhere.
Jeremy, why are you into these award shows?
John brings up a good point, and I feel very similarly, especially early on. I've always been a movie lover and a cinephile. I think past past movie lover Jeremy did often look to the Oscars to be like, oh wow, what did I miss? What should I watch? Things like that. Nowadays, it varies from year to year, of course, but more often than not, I'm in pretty firm disagreement with the Oscar nominations. This year, again, we're blind reacting, but if everything goes according to plan, I think I'll actually be pretty pleased with the majority of the nominations. But even still, there's a lot of films that I feel like should have gotten nominated that never would, or never would even be considered. Sam Newman is in the room. And that's just how the Academy works. There's so many great films that will never get the recognition. But for me, honestly, the reason I'm so because people ask me, they're like, why do you even care anymore? It's predictable. A lot of people think it's predictable. Whatever. Who was Stan? Yeah, glorified industrial show. It's a celebration of what I love. That's what it is. We're celebrating movies and the actors and the directors and all these people involved in movie making, and it's the day to celebrate everything that I hold dear and cherish throughout the entire year. So,
literally words out of my mouth. That is how I was going to wrap this up at the end. Is even though they may not always be the most, we'll say, most deserving winners or even nominees, it is. Either way, it is a day for us to come together, look at cinema, look at who is being recognized, and come together just with the shared passion for film. So when we look at these, we are always trying to find out a few different things. How we feel about films, how the Academy feels about films, how society feels about films. So because of that, we have a couple fun things going on. John and Jeremy have both prepared two different lists. They've prepared one who they think is going to be nominated in all of the categories, and then two who they want to be nominated in each of the categories. Now, for either of you, how if something that you really loved this year is not nominated, how disappointing is that for you?
I think all three of us sort of share similar interest when it comes to genre films and some independence. So you never really expect those to really break through, but every once in a while something will surprise you, and so you kind of fight for the underdog. You're rooting for the underdog. It's kind of the Rocky thing. It's you want him to win, even if he doesn't win, and he at least he can knock Apollo down, maybe scare him a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Jeremy, if Michelle Yeoh's not nominated tonight, how sad are you going to be?
That is the one thing that's the one you were asking me earlier, and I said, oh, I found out one thing, but it wasn't a spoiler because I knew it was a lock anyways. Yes, she did get nominated, and she will win.
That's going to be a showdown, those two.
Calling it now, wow.
Oh, Cate Blanchett. Never mind. Yeah. Let's talk about it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, my answer to your question is, again, I'm differentiating old Jeremy with current Jeremy because I've grown up so much. Old Jeremy would have been so disappointed. Was, I think, very disappointed when things, and I still get wrapped up in the awards show of it all.
Of course.
And I'm certainly rooting for the ones I'm rooting for, and so on and so forth. And I have my picks, and I throw a party, and so on and so forth. But in terms of literally real life being upset or devastated when my films don't get nominated or don't win, if they were nominated, it doesn't matter anymore, because I understand how the Academy works now. We all know how. It's everything I said earlier. It's like you can understand what's going on behind the scenes with the Academy and how they pick stuff and what's Oscar bait and things like that, and appreciate the awards show as celebrating what we love, like I said earlier, and not being devastated when necessarily the movies that you love or think are deserving of those awards don't get nominated or don't win.
Right. So we've got a couple questions here. Joe Jack says, have y'all not seen the nominations yet? No, we have not. None of the three of us have. And Brian wants to know, how have we avoided seeing the nominations? Did you guys have to do anything special? John has been at a family reunion all day, so he hasn't even had to try, really.
Yeah, as long as nobody... well, I'll tell you, as I think, well, definitely Ryan, and I think most of the daring prediction, Jeremy says Stan. I think he was referring to Michelle Yeoh.
Yes.
As Ryan knows, and I think most of the regular listeners and viewers, I work in television. So when you're stuck in a 5-hour Zoom meeting, you don't have to worry necessarily about the spoilers. Other than that, though, I just kind of avoided social media, and I literally have like 8 billion notifications on my phone that I've been ignoring all day, just in case.
Yeah, I worked an 11-hour shift today, and then made dinner for the kids, hung out with the wife for a little bit. There's not much else to do around that. So I've not been able to see it yet, and we are very, very curious about what happened. But
super curious. Hey, I'll tell you, Sardis has a good way to avoid spoilers.
Anyways,
that's what I would have rather been doing than working today.
One of the things that I want to do, we just talked about the culture of award shows, and so I'm a hype man. I'm going to take any moment to say, I hope that you're going to be there on February 19th as we have our live Shelf Shock Rewind Awards, and all three of us on this wonderful dais tonight, we're members of the Creators Selection Committee behind the Shelf Shock Rewind 2022 Disc Awards. We will be live on this channel and like 7 other places, so make sure you're there. I already know a couple people that have taken the next day off. There are people that are making full-blown plans to see this, and I cannot wait to see what we do.
Are all 3 of us presenters? Right?
Most likely, yes.
Okay.
I'm nominating John now.
Go for it. Absolutely.
I roped you into that one, then.
Yes. Okay. We are going to get into it. Like I said, John and Jeremy both have made 2 separate lists. One is what they think was going to be nominated by the Academy, and then the other, what they wish was nominated by the Academy. Now, I hate to say this, the Academy's website goes in a very particular order, so your list might be out of order. I apologize in advance. First one, which seems a little odd to have this listed first, although let me see if I can... nope, I can't change it up in any way, really, because it's just in alphabetical order. We're going to go to one of the bigger ones first. Actor in a leading role.
Okay.
So, for those that don't know, this is 5 possible nominees. So, we're going to go to Jeremy first on this one. Who did you want to see nominated?
Who did I want to see nominated? Let me bring up my list. Actor in a leading role. So if I had my way, let me move this over quick so I can see it and you guys. Here we go. This is fine. If I had my way, in this order, I think I tried to even do it within the order of like favorite performance to.
Nice.
Even though they're all favorite performances, otherwise they wouldn't be on this list. Brendan Fraser, who will be nominated and will win, let's face it.
Jeremy really loved The Whale.
I'm here for the Renaissance. That man deserves it. Colin Farrell, who I also believe will be nominated, since we haven't seen the actual nominations yet. Paul Mescal for After Sun, which I am hoping will be nominated, but that one's not as much of a lock. As I'm not as confident about that one. Danielle Jimenez. I'm sorry if I Jimenez Cacho.
You said it so much worse the second time.
Can I just share my screen? Just kidding. He's the lead actor in Bardo.
Okay.
False Chronicles of a Handful of Truths. Alejandro Iñárritu. I got that one. His new film, which is a masterpiece. It's number 5 on my best of list for the year, right underneath The Whale. So yeah, it would be him. And then number 5 is, this one will never ever get considered by the Academy. Ray Fiennes for The Menu.
Uh,
That's just a masterclass acting.
I was
right
almost expecting you to say Daniel Radcliffe for Weird Al.
Here's what I keep saying to people about that, because everybody's like, if they see my best of list, they're like, weird as the number 2 film, and it's like, well, objectively speaking, it's not the second best movie of the year. It's probably not on almost anybody's best of list, but
Right.
because of how much Weird Al means to me, it's number 2 on my best of the year list. However, that doesn't mean that I can't, as a film lover and cinephile, differentiate the difference between an actual good performance versus a movie that I just love because of how much I love Weird Al. So
right. All right, John. What is differing on your list? What do we got?
We definitely have some crossover. Number 1 on my list is Brendan Fraser as well. That's a movie that's built on a performance, and it is a hell of a performance. And he will be nominated, and he is my favorite to win as well. Number 2 on my list is another crossover, Paul Mescal from After Sun, which is my number 1 movie of the year, and it's just a brilliant, immersive, incredible performance.
Oh yeah, John. That's my number 3. If it wasn't for the fact that there was a Weird Al biopic out, and if it wasn't for the fact that Everything Everywhere is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yes, After Sun's an equal masterpiece. It's number
We're going to be
3.
talking a lot about After Sun when it comes to my list tonight, along with this next film, which it's not going to be on any of your lists. I know that just because I know you guys. Alexander Skarsgård from The Northman. The Northman's going to be making a lot of appearances in my list tonight. I just think it's a totally committed role, and he is just chewing up the scenery, and I love every bit of his performance. It's just perfect to see a guy like that in a Robert Eggers movie, and to me it was just lightning. I loved it. Number 4 for me is going to be Austin Butler. As Ryan knows, I'm a big fan of Elvis. I loved it the moment that I saw it this year. It's probably the movie it's probably the 2022 release that I've seen the most this year. I even incorporated a few elements from Baz Luhrmann into the actual Mets broadcast this year. So I was a big fan of the film and Austin Butler. I think he's Brendan Fraser's only real competition in this category. And number 5. Exactly like my good friends here, Ray Fiennes. Where's my camera?
Nice.
Look at that. Number
5.
So
nice.
I agree with you. I wasn't totally crazy about the film, but my God, what a performance, and what a great standout in a film that, a genre film like that. And I think the fact that he's even been mentioned, as a possible candidate in a lot of these award shows, it's huge. I love it.
I appreciate John saying, I wasn't a fan of The Menu, but Ray, what a performance, because that's how I feel about Austin Butler. Because I didn't like Elvis at all, which is where we're going to get into the boxing ring a little bit during this broadcast. but Austin Butler is phenomenal in it, and the best part about the movie, in my opinion. So I'm right there with you in that regard. I also agree with Sardis that John looks like Will Wheaton.
Well, will I be nominated tonight?
Only for an Emmy. For your appearance on Disconnected, you're gonna be nominated.
For your appearance on Disconnected, you get a Streamy Award.
For The Menu, I did want to say, I think that it's an odd film for a lot of people. It seems to be more divisive than it was at first. When it debuted at Fantastic Fest and Beyond Fest, it was very highly reviewed. And then once general audiences were seeing it, it was more of a cold response, which is a little odd for a film like that. I thought it was going to carry over pretty well. I got to throw out, it looks like with The Menu, there are like 3 great performances, and then everybody else is still really good, but I felt something right after The Menu that it was better than it was, and now it's just kind of lessened over time since I saw it.
It's lessened for you. That's interesting. I've now watched it, I think, 4 times, and it is like just as good for me every time.
Yeah, good movie.
Steph,
go ahead.
Good. Who's this?
Stefano McLaughlin.
Well,
he says,
back anytime.
I love weird. He's a patron. Thanks, Stefano.
Yeah.
Of course, at first, Chester said no love for Butler. John will be praising Butler all night long. Jeremy says happy birthday, which he says this to me about 48 times a year. And funny enough, you almost got it this time. That was pretty close.
He'll get it right one of these days.
Let's see. We got Robert Eggers is 3 for 3. Not
100%.
Not in my book, but in
100%.
John's for sure.
What's the 3 for 3? Three meaning good movies? Quality?
All 3 of his movies have been great. Yeah.
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 Because even if I like The Northman lesser than his other 2, it's still a great film. So I'll say 3 for 3, sure.
I'd say 2.5. All right. So now the big question. Just a short of a not quite as long as we just talked. Who do you guys think is going to be nominated tonight? Now, because this is very different, and a lot of people that don't pay attention to this, it is very, very different because it's not necessarily highest quality. This is
mine's actually very similar to my picks list.
Interesting.
Actually, no, only 3 of the 3 out of 5 is pretty similar.
That's a majority. The difference here, there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of money in it, there's a lot of literally campaigning, the way that they look at all of this. So just sort of as a joint discussion, what is both of your first one on there?
Fraser.
Yeah.
Okay, we knew that. Second one then.
His only real competition, as John
Butler.
said, Austin Butler.
That's
See,
what
I
I
can
thought.
differentiate. You know what I mean? That's what I was saying earlier. I have my Academy hat on when I'm deciding what they're going to pick. So it's very different from my personal list because I know, based on how the Academy thinks and the previous awards shows that have happened this year, that what John said is correct. Butler's his really only competition.
So those were the 2 locks that I had in this category. Do you guys think there are any other locks for nominees?
Colin
Yes.
Farrell.
There's one more lock, Colin Farrell. Yeah.
That one, I was curious if it was going to be that or Brendan Gleeson.
Well, Brendan Gleeson, I
That's
think they're putting
supporting.
in as supporting.
Are they? Okay, because I had heard that they were going either way at the beginning.
Yeah,
I didn't. I tried to, once I knew we were doing this, I tried to mute most of it out of my mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we got 3. Jeremy, what's your 4th?
Though I'm unsure whether or not it will happen, as we just said, those are really the only 3 locks in my book. I put Paul Mescal for 4, and I'm hoping for it.
John, you agree?
I at 4, I actually have Tom Cruise, Top Gun.
Whoa!
I think the Academy is going to make a push to include Top Gun in as many categories as they can this year. I did have Paul Mescal at 5 for me.
I don't disagree with them pushing Top Gun. I would be surprised if Tom Cruise is in that category.
I tried to do a few wild cards in my guesses, and with Cruise being that wild card in this one because I have a feeling that Bill Nye is going to be nominated.
That's my 5th, Bill Nye.
Yeah, and so I kind of went with my gut that the Academy was not going to go by the book on some of these categories, and that's where I kind of took a chance. So
So you're thinking Bill Nye will be in there, and
my gut says that Bill Nye will be in there, but I'm gonna say.
So you're thinking Tom Cruise instead of Paul.
I'm gonna say Tom Cruise instead of Paul, and I think honestly it's at this point Mescal, he really only has BAFTA and Critics' Choice.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's not a lock for Oscar.
No, he's definitely not a lock for
No,
Oscar.
but I'm hoping. Yeah.
I'm hoping as well.
Yeah.
Well, basically, John and I's list is exactly the same, except he swapped out Paul for Tom.
Yeah.
Well, we have somebody who is 5 for 5, and the nominees are Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for Banshees, Brendan Fraser for The Well, Paul Mescal
Awesome.
for After Sun,
Yes.
and Bill Nye for Living.
I'm gonna go take a
So
victory
glad
lap.
Mescal's in.
Actually, I genuinely have to go turn on my heat really quick. I forgot. I'll be right back.
You live in California, you're fine.
Hey, it's cold here. John knows.
That's actually awesome. I'm so happy that Paul Mescal got nominated because I'm not sure how much we're going to see After Sun on any of these nominations, and the fact that he's able to pull a lead.
It's a big deal.
Probably no other nominations on the board. It's a big deal, and that it says a lot about the performance, and that's it's awesome. Like I said, it's my #1 movie of the year, so I'm really happy for Paul Mescal in that film.
I am as well, and After Sun seems to really be picking up some heat. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I'm hearing it a lot more over the last couple weeks.
I hope you're right.
Sad is
You're
that. Sorry, I didn't mean to overstep you, John.
No.
It was not getting any love because it came out
Right.
like October or something like
Yeah.
that, or September, and it wasn't getting any love. But I do agree with you that I think it is picking up steam with the Oscars, with a couple other announcements, and I'm really hoping more people end up watching that, because I do agree with John. If it's his favorite film of the year, you said, John?
It is my number one. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
If we're not including Weird solely due to my obsession with Weird Al Yankovic, then it would be my number 2. And even still, it's only number 2 by like a smidge, because I love it.
And your number 1's one of your favorite movies of all time, right?
Yeah.
So
It jumped up there. But After Sun
it
truly is a masterpiece, and really, more than anything, it's an astonishing writing directorial debut from Charlotte Wells, who I fear will not get
I
the
know.
recognition she deserves.
If I could pick one Hail Mary that I hope would go through, would be her director, but I don't think it's going to happen.
So I'm just curious, do both of you agree here that Fraser is kind of the lock to win this?
Yes.
I think Fraser, it's his to lose, and especially after the speech he gave at the last, was it the Critics' Choice speech that he gave, which was astonishing.
Critics' Choice was the powerful.
That stuff means something, and I think it's trending his way for sure.
I would be utterly shocked if he didn't win. By the way, my heat is on and I have a jacket on now, so everybody can calm down. Thank you very much.
Although I hate to even bring it up, the Lisa Marie Presley stuff. I mean, that's another thread that
it's something to consider.
Austin Butler wins. That's an unbelievable story.
Honestly, the Academy. Well, yeah, it's something to consider, because the voters will sway with what's in the news.
So he was at Graceland for her funeral, so it's you don't know. You never know what's going to happen.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not going to be upset if Butler wins, because it was a great performance.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be harsh, but if that causes him to win over Fraser, who I think deserves it more, and who I don't know will get another chance. He might get another chance, but he's long overdue, whereas Austin Butler is a young, up-and-coming performer with plenty of other options.
I totally agree. And the Elvis film was more than a performance. The Whale was a performance. That's what it was. Without that performance, you don't have a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, throw it out there, the Academy does seem to love people doing full-on biopic impressions.
Unfortunately, that's true. Bohemian Rhapsody, what a disgrace that was.
Anyways, I didn't want to be negative there. We're gonna go to the second one now.
You know what I found? By the way, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I don't know if you're able to show it here. I think it would be. I don't know if there's a way to do this. So maybe I was going through my old. Actually, I wasn't even going through it. You know how sometimes, not Facebook memories, but like, do we all have iPhones in this?
I'm a Samsung guy myself.
Oh. Well, let's kick him out. Just kidding. Ryan, you have an iPhone. You know how sometimes photos will be like, remember this on this day, or they'll make little slideshows for you without you asking, and you're like, what the fuck, Apple? This popped up in my memories. It's Oscars 2018, I think. My friend Chris and I went to a cabin in an undisclosed location, somewhere in Big Bear or something like that, and we watched it. We had like a bunch of booze and some pizza, and watched it in this hotel room. And I don't remember why. I think it was just a fun trip. I don't know. But anyways, I did Instagram Live, not an Instagram Live. I was doing Instagram stories, but like live reacting throughout the Oscars. So it's like a whole string of. Anyways, the funny part is that I totally forgot, because I haven't watched this in however many years now, is I'm getting progressively drunker throughout the night, and it's extremely noticeable, and it's actually quite fun. Anyways, if I can send it to you, maybe you can play it. I don't know. I thought it was funny, and it's related to the topic at hand.
All right, I was waiting for the punchline. Chester says, should those things matter? Shouldn't it be solely about the performance? Yes, of course, but it doesn't. And unfortunately, there are a lot of other things that pepper who actually wins. So next is
Sam likes that John is a Samsung guy.
Of course he does. Actor in a supporting role. There is quite a lot of some fanfare over one or two of these this year. So let's start with John. John, who do you want to see nominated for supporting?
My wants. Okay, so my wants are going to be a little different than what is going to actually happen. My number one supporting actor role is Zlatko Buric from Triangle of Sadness. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Jeremy probably is. He was incredible. He was my favorite part of that film, which was also in my top 10 for the year. Anytime he was on screen, he was just, you could not take your eyes off of him for better or worse. It was just an incredible. I really wish he picked up more steam and, you know, had more of a chance to compete in the Oscars. But yeah, it's not going to happen.
I Sell Shit. That's that guy.
Yes,
right?
yes, the I Shall Shit guy. Yeah, exactly. Number two for me will be Mark Rylance from Bones and All.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of the great villain roles that I've seen in a few years, and he was just so creepy, so scary, and he sold it. I mean, he was incredible in a movie that was my top 5 for the year, Bones and All. Mm-hmm. Number 3 for me is the guy who's going to win the award this year, Ke-Huy Quan from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Number 4 for me, and this is the second Northman appearance of the night, Clay Spang, who played the villain in the film, and he was just a total badass, scary MFer, man. He was just awesome. And number 5 for me is somebody that's also going to be nominated tonight, Barry Keoghan from Banshees of Inisherin, who I actually preferred to Brendan Gleeson in the film. Mm-hmm. That would be my 5.
I don't think anybody else could have played the Barry part.
Incredible.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already a pretty perfect film, but
yeah,
he crushed it. He was like one of the
All right, Jeremy, what are your 5 that you are hoping to see?
I just want to let you know that based on your comment, Ryan, you're never getting to see that video of me getting drunk at the point. I'm now withholding it from you. You never get to see it. Why is Sardis always bashing me in these comments? I'm just looking at the comments real quick.
Because it's funny.
Media membranes here for the Renaissance. I'm just curious what other people are thinking. Sorry to get side. Okay, so my picks are for Best Supporting Actor. The one who will win it is Ke-Huy Quan, and that's my top pick as well. Second, Mark Rylance as well. Bones and All is one of my favorite films. Just shy of my top 5. I think it's number 6. But I mean, incredible Mark Rylance. And number 3 is Barry Keoghan as well.
Nice.
Number 4 is Brendan Gleeson. Even though I like Barry more, Brendan was great. That whole cast is great. What a great movie.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that they both might get nominated, but we'll see. The Academy in recent years especially has not shied away.
Media Membrane says, "Give what the people want, Jeremy. Release the long cut."
I'll send it directly to Media Membrane.
Put a link in the description. Come on.
It'll be a patron only exclusive in the Discord.
Yeah, sign up for Disconnected's Patreon if you want to see we get drunk at the 2018
Ryan, you've had a lot of good sales. That wasn't one of them, man.
It comes with a free T-shirt. I'm calling it right now. And then number 5, Paul Dano, who, even though I didn't love Fabelmans, I liked it. I didn't love it, but all the performances in that movie were the best part of the movie, and I just love Paul Dano.
I thought you were going to say Paul Dano for Batman. I'm just kidding. He's like hardly in that movie, and even though he's technically the main villain,
I know, barely at all. He's great.
So yeah,
though he's just great in everything.
He really is, and God, one of my favorites of all time, Little Miss Sunshine. He is incredible in that movie.
Little Miss Sunshine, Ruby Sparks.
There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
Swiss Army Man.
There's a lot. So this one is a very interesting category because supporting, there's a lot of different ways that they seem to define it every year. There's some sort of trend sometimes with the supporting casts that they're nominating. So I'm curious, where you guys are leaning with who you think they're nominating it. And obviously, Ke Kwan is on everybody's. So that's number one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Barry Keoghan. You guys both think he's probably gonna get nominated.
Yes, he is on my list for what I think is going to get nominated. Yes.
All right, number 3, John. Do you have any other locks?
My only other lock would be Brendan Gleeson.
Oh wow! So for sure you think they're both getting nominated?
I think Gleason and Keoghan are locks.
I'm pretty darn certain as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on my list.
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
Number 4, I have Paul Dano for the Fabelmans. So
Wow.
that would be my top 4. And the 5th one is a tricky one. So what's your number 4, Jeremy?
5th one is the tricky one in this category for sure. I have Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse, which I don't think is gonna get anything else. But this was a tough category in terms of, because we just got done going through our list of picks. And even though it's very similar, they're never going to consider a film like Bones and All, and thus will not consider Mark Rylance, despite how amazing his performance is. So you got to go with something mainstream, something based on true story, based on a book, with an actor that is kind of an Academy darling, so to speak, with previous roles. And so I went with Eddie Redmayne.
I also went with Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse.
Wow.
I saw his name mentioned a lot, and I actually hadn't seen the film until like 3 or 4 days ago. And I watched it, and it was a really good performance, and it was a little Oscar baity. I actually preferred Jessica Chastain's performance to Eddie Redmayne's in the film. But I do think Eddie Redmayne has picked up enough steam. He's taken home SAG, BAFTA, and a Golden Globes nomination. I think he's number 5. That would be my 5. So Kwan, Gleason, Keoghan, Dano, and Redmayne. And I think
we have
the same.
We have the same 5. And let's be clear, Jessica Chastain is good in everything she touches.
This is true. I'm just curious here about the Redmayne love. Like, obviously he got nominated for the other 3, but I'm not hearing anything about The Good Nurse lately. It seems like all of the hype for that has died completely. Like,
it's really, the decision came from, for me, with you. What it is understanding how the Academy's mind works, mixed with what has been being nominated throughout. Yes, John, even everything.
Chapter 2 is great.
Let me repeat, everything Jessica Chastain touches. It's just, it's like following the awards season and seeing what's happening and just knowing how the Academy thinks. It's like there's, no diss to Eddie Redmayne. I think he's great. There's so many much more deserving performances that the Academy will not consider. So you kind of just deduce it down to, if Eddie Redmayne's here on the list, and you're like, well, they're not going to consider Bones and All. They're not going to look at, any performance from Bardo or blah blah blah. Then it's like Eddie Redmayne. That's kind of how you get there.
Yeah, that's true. And there's genuinely like a science to this, unfortunately, and Eddie Redmayne does sort of fit the mold. So let's find out who is in the final list. We have Brendan Gleeson, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway.
Wow.
Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans.
Wow.
Whoa.
Barry Keoghan and Ke Kwan. So Brian Tyree Henry, why is that so surprising, John?
He was discussed, and honestly, I haven't seen Causeway yet, so I can't talk a lot about the performance.
Oh, wow.
But that is a sort of out of left field nomination. He hasn't gotten anything from any of the prior shows, so that is totally out of left field. Judd Hirsch is surprising, but not totally out of the blue. That seems like a very Oscar.
I'm less shocked about that. Despite the fact that we thought it was going to be Paul Dano, I'm actually less shocked that they chose Judd over Paul.
I mean, Paul Dano. I mean, it's such a bigger performance than Hirsch's. And Hirsch is in 15 minutes of the movie and basically gives one speech. But I mean, it's a damn good speech, man. It's really good. It's actually one of my favorite filmic moments of the year. I just didn't think it was enough for a nomination.
I didn't think so either. Literally, what they like when they're going through the nominations on Oscar night, what they show will be the entire role of his in the film.
Seriously, yeah, you're right. You're actually right. I mean, for any creative person, the speech that he gives to the young Steven Spielberg stand-in, it cuts deep, man. It's really good.
And I'm not mad about it. I mean, I
No,
love
I'm
Paul
not either,
Dano.
actually. I'm not
Paul
either.
Dano's had his time. He's had a lot of great performances and will continue to have a lot of great performances. Judd Hirsch, really, that speech alone was one of the best parts of that movie.
I agree. The Brian Tyree Henry one is baffling to me. I don't know where that came from.
I'm not baffled because he honestly deserves it. Honestly, in a movie that I'm actually happy about it, because I thought I saw that movie twice. Once at a Q&A with Brian Tyree Henry and once at a Q&A with Jennifer Lawrence. And both of them are phenomenal in the film. I think it's one of Jennifer Lawrence's best performances to date, and Brian Tyree Henry, who I've only ever really seen mostly do kind of comedies and things like that thus far that I can think of.
I take it back. I have seen Causeway, and it was a great performance. I got totally confused. Okay.
Yeah, he gives an amazing performance,
yes.
Truly. I thought it was way too small of a movie to ever be considered by the Academy.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Wasn't it a streaming film too?
Apple
it's
TV.
I think it's on Netflix.
Apple.
Is it Apple?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did see this film, I guess, a couple months ago, and it was a standout performance. Yeah, I just didn't think I had a chance. That's actually a great nomination. I don't know what I was thinking about what film that was. It didn't stand out.
It's a terrific nomination. I mean,
that's a good get for him. I like that nomination a lot.
Honestly, if we're looking, let's look at it this way. Let's once again ignore all the performances that we really loved that we didn't think they'd Mark Rylance, for instance, stuff like that. If we're looking at just our list with John, which was exactly the same as to what we thought they would pick, they swapped out one Fabelman supporting actor for another, which we both agree with anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And then our loose pick of Eddie Redmayne goes to, quite honestly, someone way more deserving this particular year, which is Brian Tyree Henry, because that was an amazing performance.
I actually love this list. This list is it's unique. It's a very it's a good surprise, because I really felt those top four were locks, and the fact that one of them didn't make it, and Redmayne doesn't get nominated, which I could have gone either way with him being nominated. I love the performance, like I said, and it wasn't even my favorite performance in the film. This is a good thing. This is trending nicely. So the first two categories, having Paul Mescal in leading, and having Judd Hirsch and Brian Tyree Henry get pops. This is interesting. This could be an interesting evening.
Paul and Brian are both very pleasant surprises, and though I was 100% right in the first category, and I hate being wrong, I'm happy that I was wrong in a way that is a very pleasant surprise in this category.
Well, and Redmayne has won already, right? He won for Theory of Everything.
Yes. No, he won
for Danish Girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So he's already won one.
Yeah. The Academy loves when you cross-dress.
That's true.
They should see me at a midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show. I ain't getting no awards.
Or any Altered Innocence film at the New Bev, right?
Let's move on.
Brian Tyree Henry is one of my favorites over the last handful of years. He is pretty much a scene stealer in everything he shows up in. I would 100%, if you guys have never watched Atlanta, go watch Brian Tyree Henry. Brian Tyree Henry in Atlanta. He is incredible in that show.
Yeah,
and I would urge people to check out Causeway, and I hope they will now, because it's been nominated. Like I said, this is the importance of these award shows, because it's a very understated, quiet film. It's a buddy picture of two very flawed people, Jennifer Lawrence and of course him. It's he's great. He plays an amputee. It's complex. It's deep. It's a really good performance, and it's awesome that the Academy recognized that.
So Stefano says lots of buzz about Hirsch being nominated. That's probably good. Stan wanted to point out this is the first nom for Hirsch since Ordinary People in 81.
Good for him.
That's pretty incredible.
He deserves it. He's had so many incredible performances over the years. So whether or not he's in this movie for 5 seconds or not, he deserves the nomination for his years of acting.
And then Zombies Ate My Arm says Academy making up for ignoring Hirsch in Independence Day.
That's true. And tell Stan you're welcome. I'll tell him. You're welcome, Stan.
You're literally speaking to him.
I'll send you some. Anybody who joins Ryan's Patreon today will get pictures of me in drag at the Rocky Horror Picture Show midnight show, and a T-shirt. And
From you?
No, a disconnected shirt.
So you're gonna buy him a disconnected shirt. Got it. So in this category, I'm curious because I already know you guys' answers. Is there any world in which Ke Huy Quan does not win this?
No.
I mean, obviously everything is trending that way, but who could you see possibly even coming in some sort of Cinderella story?
Barry, maybe.
I think this is as big a lock as you can have at this year's Oscars.
I'd be shocked. Listen, I've been surprised at the Oscars before. My draw did not come off the floor for like 5 years after they Green Book won.
Right.
Yes. No.
But I'd be willing to like bet my life savings on Ke Huy Quan.
All right, good to know. All right, next is the other big one, actress in a leading role. So let's go through this one.
Justin says David Lynch got snubbed for Fableman. He's in it about as long as Hirsch.
Okay, so what are you guys shooting for, or what are you hoping gets nominated? So Jeremy, why don't you go first on this one?
Which category? Sorry.
Actress in a leading role.
Okay.
And this is, if you had your ways, these are who you would nominate.
Yes. So, despite how I misspoke at the beginning of this stream, Cate Blanchett is my number one pick. And that is acknowledging the fact that Everything Everywhere is my favorite movie of not only the year, but one of my favorites of all time, and Michelle Yeoh. Listen, I would love honestly, my top two are like almost neck and neck because right. I love Everything Everywhere so much. I love Michelle Yeoh, and really, quite frankly, it's her time. Like it's funny. I think in a cultural standpoint and in terms of like the grand scheme of things and their whole career up until now, et cetera, I think Michelle Yeoh maybe is a little bit above it, but then in terms of the actual performances from this year that we're voting on, Cate Blanchett's a little bit above. So it's really tight for me. So those are my top two. Okay. 3 is Frankie Carrillo from After Sun, which will never, ever, 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 ever happen. But much like John, I fucking think that movie is a masterpiece. And in a world where I think it's very hard to find good child actors, she knocked me out of the park with her performance in After Sun. So that's my third pick. How do you kick somebody out? 4 is Ana de Armas for Blonde, which, so Stan's right. That's what I mean when I'm like, if you're looking at the bigger picture, it's like Michelle Yeoh's time, and her performance is amazing, and that is my favorite movie of the year. But Blanchett's performance is just like a smidge higher, so it's a tough call for me. I'd be very happy about either of them. 4 is Ana de Armas because Blonde, she was astonishing in Blonde. I like Blonde, even though a lot of people didn't like Blonde. I like the whole movie, but even if you didn't like the movie, you have to admit that her performance was astounding. And then 5 is Taylor Russell in Bones and All. I thought she was phenomenal, and I love that movie so much.
Interesting.
So
what do we got, John?
Taylor Russell just missed mine. She was very close. Number 1 for me is someone that starred in 2 movies this year. Mia Goth in Pearl would be my number 1 performance of the year. And God, I wish the Academy would recognize how unbelievable she was in that film. I mean, that was X was more of an ensemble piece. Pearl was her movie, and she owned it. One of my favorite, probably my favorite performance of the year. Number 2, and it's another sort of Oscar sweetheart who's not getting any love this year, would be Tilda Swinton in The Eternal Daughter, which she plays 2 roles in. She plays a daughter and a mother and is incredible in it. And the movie is haunting. I absolutely love that film this year. Number 3 for me would be a film that I was turned on to before all the hype by writer Noah Giddle, who wrote the article on me this past baseball season. Andrea Riseborough and To Leslie. I mean, this is much like Brendan Fraser's performance in The Whale. This movie is a performance, and it's just a showcase for her, and she is incredible in it. What's happened in the last couple weeks with her getting all of this attention on social media from all of her, other actors and actresses in the business, it's been really unique, and the fact that she's even been brought up for an Oscar is incredible, because the performance is just that. It's incredible. Nice. My number 4 would be Rebecca Hall in Resurrection, a film that I really liked. I didn't love as much as her last performance last year in The Night House, but she was just as strong in this film. I don't know, at some point the Oscars have to give her some love.
Oh yeah,
she's just too talented to be ignored year after year.
Yeah.
And my number 5 would be Aubrey Plaza in Emily the Criminal, a film that I also really liked. And it's just totally her film, and she's a badass in it.
Those are some really underrated picks. I like that, John.
Yeah, I'm gonna get behind the Rebecca Hall call, because she is literally every single thing that she has done. I think has been a powerhouse performance.
I really liked Resurrection. I didn't quite like The Night House, but again, her performance in it was great. She is a powerhouse. I think she fortunately for us, but unfortunate for her getting nominated by the Academy, is picking all the wrong movies in terms of that. But and that's why we haven't seen her get her due yet. But she is phenomenal for sure.
All right, now the big question: who will they actually give a nomination to? So, John, who do you got on that list?
I got number 1. I got Michelle Yeoh.
And do we both agree do we agree 2 full locks, or do we think there's going to be more than 2 locks?
I think there are 2 locks and one other semi-lock.
Interesting. Okay, so Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett, I assume, are both of your guys' locks.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's the semi, John?
I although I'm a little nervous after Michelle Williams would be my semi-lock. The fact that Dano didn't get nominated is a little scary, but I think she's in. She would be my number 3.
Michelle,
is that your lock, Jeremy?
That's my semi-lock. I have a third lock.
Yeah. Number 4. This is a risky one because the film's not getting any love anywhere else. I'm gonna go with Viola Davis. She's an Oscar sweetheart, like Jeremy says. It's just there's some people that are just gonna be nominated. The performance was good. I didn't like the movie, but the performance was very Oscar-like.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5, I have 3 names written down. And
you have to pick one.
I know
you do.
What's Jeremy's 4th? Because he's got Yeoh, Blanchett, and Viola Davis. Or no, you don't have. Do you have Viola or no?
Michelle Williams.
I got Michelle Williams. My third lock, just based on the previous awards season so far, is Daniel Deadwyler for Till.
Pretty confident. She's one of the 3 names I have written down.
I'm pretty confident about that. And then my 5th would be Ana de Armas. I do think she will. I'm pretty confident about that. The movie's not getting a lot of love or buzz, really, but her performances and the Academy loves people playing real people.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I wrote down Ana de Armas, Daniel Deadwyler, and Andrea Riseborough. And for my 5th spot, I'm gonna go with my gut and say Andrea Riseborough comes out of the depths with no nominations in any of the previous nominations, and go for her at my 5-hole.
Okay.
Very interesting.
I appreciate the underdog. The underdog.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is the second one in a row that we don't have a full winner. We've got Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything, Everywhere.
Wow. John, you went for the
That's
underdog.
Awesome.
You won.
That's great.
We're both one. Are we both? Oh no, because you didn't say Ana de Armas, John.
No, I didn't say de Armas. She was in that the swing vote. Okay.
Right.
I'm off by 1, and it was one that I was considering a lock based on the previous awards, which is Daniel Deadwyler.
That's a snub, man. That's a great performance.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to agree with John here. I'm kind of shocked that Viola Davis did not get in this category.
Or Viola, or who said that, John?
Yeah, it's tough when the film's not getting any love anywhere else. That's why it was
Right.
so surprising that Mescal made it in. When your movie's not really in the discussion for Best Picture or really any of the other awards, it's tough. But I thought that she had enough of a name and presence in that film to pull it off. I'm so glad she wasn't nominated, because I think every one of these people is much more deserving.
Everyone in this category is very deserving, that's for sure. I'm happy with it. I have not seen To Leslie yet, but I just like Andrea Riseborough, so I'm sure it's great.
She's incredible.
On it.
The fact that she was nominated is so interesting due to the fact that the way that she was nominated, because if she doesn't go viral the last week and a half, 2 weeks, there's no way she's nominated. There's no way. I mean, I don't know what that means.
She's the one. I've been hearing about this. There wasn't really a lot of buzz, right? But then she was she was writing to industry friends of hers, and people were tweeting, and
they all tweeted out.
This was pretty much a grassroots campaign directly from her.
Totally.
I've been hearing.
That nomination alone is going to change the way these discussions work. I mean,
I was going to say, the fact that paid off for her like this is astounding.
Oh yeah,
it's incredible, and it's so deserving.
Wave says Edward Norton tweeted for her.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
She had a handful of people. Yeah,
that's true.
John Peters says people will continue to talk about Mia Goth and Pearl long after any of these. Is that something you agree with? Because I don't quite agree with that.
No, I mean, I think her performance is comparable to all 5 of these people. Will it withstand any of these 5? Probably not, because I don't think Pearl is quite as seen as any of these 5 films in terms of the audience it's reaching. I think it's a very niche genre piece that people who are seeing Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fabelmans, things like that aren't considering. A large percentage of that audience might not even consider a film like Pearl. I
think John's saying in the zeitgeist as a whole, which I could see even her performance as Pearl beating out 2 of these probably in the zeitgeist, but I don't know about Ana de Armas, Cate Blanchett, or Michelle Yeoh.
The fact that it's already built into a trilogy already kind of cements it into the zeitgeist even more, and in the circles that we run in and the disconnected Discord, that performance will last a lot longer than anything on this list, for sure.
I think, if that's where he's coming from, then sure. And I do think I actually agree with you, Ryan. I mean, as much as I love Michelle Williams, I can't speak to Andrea Riseborough since I haven't seen the particular performance yet.
Yeah.
But I do think Mia Goth's performance would trump Michelle Williams in this particular category. It'd be hard to trump. You're right. It'd be hard to trump the other 3, though.
Yeah. Chester says Mia Goth hasn't gotten nominated this time, but I think she's put her name on the map for future nominations. If she gets away from horror, I could see that being the case, potentially.
I don't see her getting away from horror. That's what
I don't either. And this is going to make her the most money, clearly.
And I don't think, what it boils down to is, it goes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning when we were talking about what we love about the Oscars and knowing that it's a formulaic type of kind of scientific method type of dealio.
Yep.
But what it boils down to me is I don't think Mia Goth is somebody who cares. She's picking her roles of what she wants to do. She's loving them. She's giving amazing performances. She doesn't give a shit. We would love to see her get nominated and win and get her what she deserves in terms of recognition for those performances beyond just critics and reviews and things, but I don't think she cares.
Isn't she in the new Brandon Cronenberg film that's debuting at Sundance too?
Yep.
So
I'm seeing that on Saturday at an AMC here with a Q&A afterwards with Cronenberg and Goth. Mia Goth.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The big question, of course, Stan Geezy says this is Michelle Yeoh's year. Most people think it's come down to 2. Who do you guys see taking this? Because really, I don't necessarily agree that Michelle Yeoh is the lock.
It's neck and neck, without a doubt. I am leaning. Again, I'm so wishy-washy about my personal pick between those 2. It could go either way on any given day, honestly, because they're both so phenomenal. but I am. That's true, Stan. I'm leaning towards Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
I think Michelle Yeoh will win, and it is very deserving. I don't know if it's necessarily a lock, but
definitely not a lock. I mean, this to me, this is like the biggest dead heat of Oscar night. These two, and I think that Cate Blanchett sort of hurt herself with her speech at the last award show. I guess it was Critics' Choice, where she talked about how dumb award shows are. So, and you compare that to the speeches Michelle Yeoh's given this award season, and it's just night and day. So I definitely think her narrative is trending in the right direction. And
first
Blanchett
Asian female nominated, that kind of stuff, along with like what John's saying, her speeches, all this cultural stuff, and what's happening up until the Oscars, obviously all has a say in it, like we said earlier.
Well, and the other thing, Cate Blanchett has 2 wins already, and Michelle Yeoh's been around for decades and has done all kinds of under the radar performances that if she were to get it now, I don't know if this is controversial to say, this is likely her last real big chance to get an Oscar.
Yeah,
a role like she got this year, that's not a common thing for someone.
As she's mentioned in her speeches, she does.
I was gonna say, she's mentioned in her speeches. Her and Key both talk about it in all their speeches. I mean, Key was retired from acting before this brought him back.
Yep.
The fact that either of them were given this opportunity in this film, speaks to how amazing this film is, truly, in all regards, not just content, but even just everything involved with this film in bringing these people out of the limelight. And then, but B speaks to why she's more likely to be the lock. Absolutely.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Hall & Oates thinks Cat Blanket is the lock to win.
Cat Blanket. I would love to see Cat Blanket win. And I would love to see a cat in a blanket give a speech on the Oscar stage. That'd be better than a slap.
We are hitting like 15 to 18 minutes on each category, so maybe we be a little more brief now.
I say buckle in, everybody.
Let's do like a handful of the big ones, continuing to be long, and I almost think this next one will be another one. This is Best Supporting Actress.
Anthony says Cat Stevens at the Oscars.
Best
for date.
Actress in a supporting role. There is a lot that has got some fairly good attention this year. I would say this is one of the other more contentious possible categories. So, John, what would you vote as you wishing to see nominated?
My number one would be Dolly De Leon from Triangle of Sadness. Her along with Zlatko Buric, those were my 2 favorite performances in that film. And so the last third of that movie, she just takes the film by the throat and just kills it. Number 2, supporting actress is tough, or all the supporting roles are tough because I don't know exactly what's supporting, what's not. Some of the films, because they're not nominated. So I actually had Frankie Corio as a supporting actress in mind. Her performance in After Sun, although it probably is a lead performance now that I think about it, like Jeremy said.
That would be a tough call, and especially with something that's never going to be considered.
Yeah, exactly, that's the thing. So I had her under supporting actress, but I did want to give her some love. One of the best, young adult performances that I've ever seen. I mean, it's just incredible. Number 3, I have Carrie Condon in Banshees of Inisherin. For her to be able to stand out among a cast like that is a statement in itself, and to do what she did with the role is just totally impressive. Number 4, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right because I don't think I've ever heard the name said out loud. From the film Vortex, the female lead in that film, Francois Lebrun. Mm-hmm. She was incredible, playing a woman with a deteriorating, dementia. Incredible performance alongside Mr. Argento. Number 5, I have Anya Taylor-Joy in The Northman.
Interesting.
Who stood her ground and put out her normal Anya performance next to in a Robert Eggers movie again. So
I'm kind of shocked at the inclusion of Anya Taylor-Joy over Nicole Kidman, maybe.
Oh, I thought about that. It felt like Kidman's role was just a speech. Anya was more embedded in the narrative for me. And enough of her. She's had enough. It's Anya's time.
I get that.
I love
Anya. All right, Jeremy, lay it on us. Who do you want?
Number one, despite this person not being in my favorite movie of the year, she was definitely my favorite supporting actress performance of the year, and that's Carrie Condon. She, wow. First of all, that movie is so good. I think it's like number 7 on my list, right below Bones and all. But
yeah,
everybody in that, that's why we had Colin Farrell. Please note that pretty much everybody in that film has been on our lists so far. Barry, Carrie, Colin, Brendan. But Carrie really stole the show in that whole movie for me. Even
I agree.
Colin Farrell, or anybody. I mean, we were talking about Barry, and he did too, and I guess in terms of actor performances. But Carrie, I think, stole the show overall. So I think she's most deserving. Number 2 for me would be Stephanie Hsu, for Everything Everywhere. Favorite movie of the year. Everybody in that is, once again, in my book, deserving of awards.
Yeah.
And I think she's not getting as much love this award season, I've noticed. She's up against a tough crowd, I think, in this category, but she would be my second pick. Number 3 is Hong Chow, who, by the way, had 2 incredible performances this year. But I'm of course picking this one for her amazing performance in The Whale, which is, if Brendan is the quarterback of the film, Hong Chow is really leading him to victory with her performance alongside him. And she was incredible in The Menu too. I mean, certainly not quite up to par with her amazing performance in The Whale, but she really deserves it, and she was amazing in both those films. 4, I'm locking in Jamie Lee Curtis because I just love that movie so much. So if we can have 2 supporting actor nominees from the same movie, then let's do 2 supporting actress nominees from the same movie. And 5, much like John, Dolly De Leon is from Triangle of Sadness would be my 5th.
Nice. All right. Just to ask the big question, how many of these are locks this year, do we think?
Carrie, right, John?
Yeah, Carrie, and somebody that we haven't mentioned yet tonight.
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett. Yeah.
Angela Bassett. Yeah.
For Black Panther.
I think Angela Bassett's an amazing actor.
She's incredible, yeah.
Should this be the role she gets nominated for? Not necessarily. No. Should she beat out Carrie Condon for this? Absolutely not.
No.
Will she? Probably.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
Angela, those are the 2 locks, I think.
I think, despite the fact that I don't think she unfortunately stands a chance of winning against either of those 2, I think Stephanie Hsu is also a lock. In my book.
I have her on my list as well. I have Bassett, Condon, Hsu, and here's where it gets tricky for me. Does Everything Everywhere All at Once get 2 nominations? I think Curtis does get it, but I hate giving out 2. But although Banshees did it in supporting actor, so I'm gonna go Stephanie Hsu, Jamie Lee Curtis, and my 5th I'm gonna go with Hong Chow.
We have the exact same list again. It's mine's Bassett, Carrie, Jamie Lee Curtis, Hong Chow, Stephanie Hsu.
As much as I would love Dolly De Leon, I just don't think she has.
I don't think it's happening, unfortunately.
Well, this is amazing. Angela Bassett, Hong Chow, Carrie Condon, Jamie Lee Curtis, Stephanie Hsu. I mean, this is for the most part a fairly well. Balanced may not be a great term to use, but sort of predictable. But they're mostly good performances here. I am kind of surprised on the Angela Bassett. I think it's just because of who it is, unfortunately.
She won. Yeah, she won. Which one did she win at? Golden Globes?
Golden Globes, I believe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, again, no diss to Angela Bassett. She's phenomenal. It's just like, why? I mean, there's so many other amazing performances this year.
Right.
Give her the nomination one of the other years that she honestly deserved it more in one of her other performances, not Black Panther.
Yeah, I saw somebody tweet a few weeks ago that she's gonna sweep award season for basically a performance in a trailer.
So it's pretty accurate. Although at the same time, you could argue she has about as much screen time as Judd Hirsch did.
That's fair. Yeah, I didn't like Black Panther. I'm in a Marvel funk, man. it was like, ugh, I just struggled through it.
Listen, this is a bit of a sidetrack, but I agree with John. Although I will say I have high hopes for Phase 4.
Phase 5 now, right?
Phase 5.
I don't even know.
Is it Phase 5 now? Yeah, Phase 5.
Yeah.
I have high hopes. I think we're getting Quantumania. We're getting Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think there's some good ones coming soon that I think might.
Can you think of
turn
a
the
worse
tide.
name for a movie though? Ant-Man and Wasp and Quantumania? I mean, what are we doing?
I mean,
like
Multiverse of Madness wasn't a great title.
It's a throwback to the old comics and the crazy, Quantumania.
I have to be honest, I put off seeing Black Panther as long as possible, but once she started picking up steam during Oscar season, I was like, I guess I got to see Black Panther now. So I saw it literally a week and a half ago.
Stan is correct that every single one of these women are deserving, despite what we think Angela Bassett actually should win for versus this particular film. She's deserving of an award.
Absolutely.
So I'm fine. Yeah.
So now the question: who wins this?
It pains me to say it. I think it might be Bassett.
Yeah, I think it's.
I would love to see. I was about to say. I'll say it. I don't care. Cancel me. I would love to say anybody but Bassett. But the only competition she has, I think, is Carrie Condon, and who I would prefer to win. But I think Bassett might take it.
Well, it feels like the Oscars are itching to give Jamie Lee Curtis an award too, though.
Wait, sorry. Stop. Who's Stefano? Stefano says, Jeremy, please. I don't know what that's referring to.
That's a while ago. John Stump says, I haven't seen Black Panther yet, but reminder, screen time doesn't mean much for the supporting roles when Beatrice Straight won supporting for Network for 5 minutes.
That's right.
For this one, for me, I kind of think they're going to give this to Carrie Condon. I feel like
so.
I feel like this is going to be akin to the Olivia Colman win from a few years ago when a lot of people were like, that will never happen. And then she won. Oh yeah, she was the most deserving. All of a sudden everybody felt that.
Oh yeah.
So
she is the most deserving. In a category of amazing actresses and amazing performances, I think she is the most deserving this year. I would love it if she won.
I was stricken mostly by her scene, ironically, with Barry in The Banshees, because in a movie like that, I feel like any of the male performances could have easily blown out everybody around because of what all three of them did. They were all amazing.
Yeah.
However, the scene between Carrie and Barry? The scene between Carrie and Barry is kind of the root of that entire film. And if she was anything but perfection, that movie sort of falters right there on that point. And they really set it up perfectly. And again, Barry was absolutely perfect in his role, but without her being grounded and trying to bring some life to Barry.
I was going to say, that's literally what I was going to say. Barry has the emotional kind of impact of that role, which is why he is amazing. There's no doubt. We've already gave him his praise, and it's well deserved. But without Carrie being that soundboard for him, and literally having so much emotion with just her expression. I mean, in that scene that you're talking about, she says like 4 words,
Mm-hmm.
but conveys just as much as Barry did with his speech.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Her performance is like there's so much comedy in that performance too. Not that specific scene. For you to get hit with that scene towards the end of the film, it's just like, whoa! Like this, she's doing like some like major things right now. It's really, really impressive.
If that film was set 72 years later in Mississippi, her entire role would have been, bless your heart. All right. We've been talking about performances for a long time.
I love
Let's
it.
get to something a little off the beaten path and get into animated feature film.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it's going in alphabetical order.
We dig into the index cards here.
Yeah.
This is my bread and butter. We can go till midnight for all I'm concerned.
But the problem is midnight for you is very different than midnight for John.
Hey, John, I thought you were in California.
No, I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, my bad.
It is 11:20 where John is.
I'm visiting my parents, and they live.
Oh, but you're normally in California, right?
No, I'm in New York.
But Ryan, didn't you see John when you came out to visit me?
Because the Mets were playing the Dodgers. He is the game director for the Mets.
My whole world is topsy-turvy right now. I'm an influx of it. I'm sorry, John, but you can stay up late. Let's be real. Oscar nominations night. It's Oscar nominations night. This is important.
Yeah, we're celebrating. So this one's interesting because obviously a lot of people see this as not a really big competitive group for many years. They think that Pixar is going to run away with most everything seemingly over the last 2 decades. I feel like that's a big difference this year. So Jeremy, I know this one is very near and dear to your heart. What are your 5 hopes are getting nominated?
First of all, let me just point out that in this category for this year, we've had a particularly large amount of claymation animated films, which I think is beautiful because in a time where that's less prominent to have, you got Marcel the Shell, you got Pinocchio, you got Mad God, Wendell and Wild, a ton of claymation this year.
Yeah,
puppets instead of CGI animation, which I think is such a beautiful thing. And 3 of those are in my personal picks. Which number 1 is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I can't watch that movie without crying. Who thought that I would ever cry at a show? I didn't. I would have sold you all my baseball cards as a kid if you said, one day you're going to cry at a show. I didn't have any baseball cards. I'm joking. But number 2 is, anyways, Marcel the Shell. I don't know. I just love that movie. It's on my top 22 of the year, and I think it deserves. I think a lot of people are like, how can you make a movie out of a little YouTube thing that went viral like what, 15 years ago or whatever the hell?
Yeah.
It's such a powerful film. It's so good. The outlook of Marcel the Shell is like the outlook of a child, which we can all learn from. Yeah. In this world, especially. Number 2 is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. If Guillermo del Toro puts something out, it's going to be somewhere on my best of list. But I mean, that's just a given.
True.
Number 3, Mad God, which I actually saw last year because of Beyond Fest. So I almost forgot until I was looking around at some other people's lists that it is this year. Will it ever get considered by the Oscars? No, but I'm putting it on my particular list for this year. 4, a film that surprised me in the world of animation this year, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, was actually really, 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 really good.
It is getting rave reviews, shockingly great reviews.
The first Puss in Boots was like a very generic kids movie, and this one had a lot of themes for adults and a lot of really well-structured stuff going on in it for it. I mean, it's really, really good.
Took them like 11 years to think of a story.
Yeah, and it paid off. Unlike Anchorman 2, which took them 11 years to make. And The Bad Guys is number 5. And I really picked that one solely because I love Sam Rockwell so much.
Fun movie, too. And not to mention, an animated heist film that works as a good heist.
With animals?
Great.
Like, it works as a heist and a kid's movie. It's a good movie, and I'm obsessed with Sam Rockwell, so that's my number 5.
This is a hell of a comment. Del Toro is who Tim Burton wishes he could be.
Ooh.
That is a hell of a comment.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything because so far Stefano has been really rooting for me in the comments, and I don't want to lose him as a fan. But
Well, and I got to admit, that's kind of hard to argue with, especially lately.
well, what has Tim Burton done lately?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
The last couple things I can
Well,
think
he
of,
did Wednesday this year.
Well, that's a show.
Yeah.
Even besides Wednesday, the last couple things I can think of are all live action stuff, and not
I think the
animated.
last good thing he's done is Mars Attacks.
Love
So
that.
it's like 20 years ago.
I mean, that Mars Attacks is a great movie, but for that to be the last good thing he's
I mean,
done,
I can't think of anything. I don't have a list in front of me, but I can't think of anything recent.
well, yeah.
All right, John. Who do you think? Who do you want to see nominated?
So I have neglected to do a card for animation because I haven't watched a ton of new animation this year. Now, my number one would obviously be Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. It was, incredible. I mean, talking about adult themes. I mean, that movie just packs such a punch. But it's also a movie that I watched with my almost 3-year-old, and she loved it. And I bought like the A24 little Marcel the Shell.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think it's really heavy. She throws it. It's like it could do some damage.
Yeah.
I love that film.
I went to a PGA screening of that here in California, and found out from Jenny's publicist that even she didn't get one because those figurines are in such high demand.
Really?
They sold out like that, like 2 or 3 times now on the A24.
I think we're at
website.
3 times, yeah.
And I said, Jenny, do you want mine? She's like, I'll just call the A24 people and bother them for the next week.
Yeah, my daughter like threw it off the dinner table one night, and I was like, whoa, no, don't throw that. Those are sold out. My wife's like, is it hers or yours? So my number 2 would probably be, and I just saw this 4 days ago, my daughter's first movie in the movie theater, Puss in Boots.
Wow.
Nice.
For that reason alone, it's going to be special for me. It was really damn good. I was really happy that the movie ended up being something we can revisit. And so
what a great choice for first movie in the movie theater for her.
Yeah. She's a little young. She's almost 3, but I was like, you know what? This feels right. This is the time. So we brought her, and it was unbelievable.
I love it.
My number 3 probably be Pinocchio. I was a little disappointed in Pinocchio. I mean, I loved how dark it got, and I loved the themes it explored there. But it didn't. I need to revisit it. I saw it one time. I need to see it again. It didn't totally, blow my skirt up.
Right.
The dark themes is the reason I loved it so much. Guillermo's purposely incorporating that. I've seen him at a couple screenings now saying like, this is a kid's movie, despite what you may think, because he wants children to learn about this stuff.
Sure.
He says, don't let kids watch it alone. Watch it with your kids. Talk to them about it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons it's so special to me.
I love listening to him talk about film. He's one of my, he's just so passionate with every word that comes out of his mouth.
So passionate.
Was Turning Red this year? Was that
2022?
I would probably put that there. I thought that was really well done for that sort of film. I don't know. I can't think of a fifth. I mean, that would probably be my 4.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say check out The Bad Guys. Genuinely,
I haven't seen it yet.
movie.
I got to check that out.
I could check that one out for sure.
All right, so John's a little off the record on this one. Jeremy, who do you think is either a lock to win this, or you could go with your list of who you think is going to be nominated?
Yeah, I have a different list for everything. So Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, I think, as much as I want Marcel the Shell to win, I think that might be the lock for this category. So I have that as number 1. Marcel is number 2. Turning Red is number 3. Per what John just said, that is Pixar, right? I believe.
Yes.
And by default, that kind of falls into the 3rd category there. Puss in Boots is number 4 for obvious reasons, and then I'm pretty sure Wendell and Wild would be the 5th slot for me.
If I had to do a wild card, since I have to do a 5th, and we're playing this game, let me go with. I'm pulling up a list of animated films. How about The Sea Beast? I don't know what that is, but
that one.
That's my number 5.
Yeah.
Do you know that one, Jeremy?
I almost forgot about that one, but I did watch it when it came out. Yeah.
Another one that got rave reviews at first, and then unfortunately got buried later in the year. But You thought it was all right?
But it was all right.
Well, of course, The Sea Beast gets a nomination
Stop.
alongside Turning Red, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, Marcel the Shell, and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
There's
Amazing.
no way
So
I
my
swept
fifth,
that category. There's no way.
my fifth pick, which was my only real outlier in terms of what I thought would be nominated, which was Wendell Wired, is that's the only one that switched out here for Sea Beast.
Yeah, and
It's
honestly, I'm kind of surprised Wendell and Wild didn't get it over The Sea Beast.
I'm surprised too. It's claymation. You got Jordan Peele behind it, and
Yep.
Henry. Oh gosh, what's his last name? Who did Nightmare Before Christmas? He did all the animation for Nightmare. Henry. What's his name? Anyways, he's the he did all the animation.
And I know I mentioned Ki Hu Kwan was the biggest lock. I actually was mistaken. This is the biggest lock of the night. Pinocchio is going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident about that as well, which bums me out because of how badly I want Marcel to win.
The only difference with Marcel is it's not fully animated, which I know a lot of people were contending early on.
No love for Apollo 10 and a half, huh? That's another animated film that I just thought of that I would have.
Yeah, God, I love it. Pretty much anything Linklater touches, but not his best movie. I'm fine.
No,
with
definitely
it
not.
on this list.
All right, let's go to one of our bigger technical sides. Let's go cinematography. What is the most beautiful films of the year? John, let's start with you, since I know that you're a big camera person.
Oh, Jeremy's going to love this. Elvis, my number one of the year.
And these are wants first, right?
This is my wants. Yes, this is my wants. My top two are what these two directors did this year and cinematographers did, and blew my mind, inspired me. Maybe just want to go out there and create. So Elvis would be my number one. Number two would be Decision to Leave. Just filmmaking, just gorgeous filmmaking, just to its core, like peak De Palma filmmaking, just gorgeous cinematography, lush, innovative, unique. I can't give enough praise to it.
And by the way, that's every Park Chan-wook film.
I know. He's just incredible, and to see that him just pumping them out one after another is just amazing. Number three for me would be Bones and All. I mean, when I first saw this movie, it was like I said, it's Badlands meets Near Dark. It was just wide sweeping, beautiful landscape cinematography, tight, intimate, beautiful, like romantic filmmaking, just gorgeous. Number four, for better or worse, Top Gun. I mean, Top Gun is going to be nominated, and it's probably the favorite to win. I would say Top Gun at my number four. And number five, a movie that's gotten zero love, but was one of my favorite films of the year, Babylon. So that would be my wish list for five.
Interesting. Jeremy, what's your wish list then?
My wish list, before I even go into it, I just want to say Bones and All is just barely not on it because I agree with everything John said. Henry Selick is his name, yeah.
Henry Selick was the animator, yeah.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Bones and All, amazing. It did remind me a lot of Badlands. I like that comparison, John. My number one is Everything Everywhere, because everything about that movie is perfect.
Right.
Need I say more? Two, After Sun, because it's a very particular type of cinematography, but what it does so beautifully well in that film. And the cinematography really helps, in that film in particular, helps you feel the mood of each scene and what Paul Mescal's character is
great call. That's a great call. It's actually a cinematic device in the film.
Yeah, it really is.
Narrative. Yeah, that's a good call.
And for that, I had to put it on number two. Number three is Bardo. I think Inarritu really stands out with his cinematography in pretty much all of his films, but in this film in particular, with even just that opening scene. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie yet.
I've missed that one. I haven't gotten to it yet.
There's the opening scene alone is a extremely cinematic achievement at how they even accomplished it, to be honest. Which, by the way, just circling back to Everything Everywhere, I could have left it alone as a perfect movie, but there's shots in that film that I'm just like, how the hell? You know what I mean? So that 100% deserves to be on the list. There's no doubt about it, besides my love for the film. 4 is Banshees, because when you watch that movie and you see the cinematography, you want to move to Ireland. I mean,
yeah,
you want to buy a plane ticket tomorrow and move. And then 5 is Babylon, much like John. I love the movie, but for all the hate it's getting, you can't help but love the cinematographic. Is that a real word?
It is now. Thanks, Chester.
The cinematography in Babylon is beautiful. I mean, Damien Chazelle is a master behind the camera, and whether you like his films or not, you can't argue with his cinematography, and his music or his sound are always top notch in all of his films.
Interesting lists. So this is one of, in my opinion, the more wide open categories this year. I feel like I could see 15 different titles here and go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do we think there are any actual locks for this one?
Yes.
Lay it on me.
I would say Fabelmans is a lock, just because of its content and being Steven Spielberg. And I would say Top Gun Maverick, much like John said, is also a lock in this category. Those are my 2 locks for this category.
Agree there, John?
I think there might be 3 locks. I think Elvis is definitely in 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Baz Luhrmann, yeah.
Fabelmans, Top Gun, Elvis are the 3 locks. The other 2, it's a tough call. I mean, like you said, I have a film that made a lot of noise at the BAFTA nominations. We haven't mentioned it yet here tonight. All Quiet on the Western Front.
That's on my list. I didn't necessarily consider it a lock, but it is on my list.
Yeah,
will be nominated.
I love that movie when it first came out. I don't know when it was, in June, July, August, I don't know. It got 14 BAFTA nominations. So
we haven't even seen it tonight yet at all. You
haven't seen it because it's not getting any performance stuff.
Right.
I think it gets in on cinematography. I mean, it's a gorgeously photographed film. Every frame of that film, now that I think about it, it probably should be in my top 5. Every frame of that film is museum worthy. It's gorgeous.
Which one of it? Sorry.
And my 5th, I'm going to go wild card. I'm going to go The Batman.
Oh.
What was the one you said right before that, John?
What's that?
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, we were still talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got Top Gun, Elvis, The Batman, All Quiet, and Fabelmans.
What is you think they're going to be nominated list there, Jeremy?
Pretty similar to John's. Fabelmans, Top Gun Maverick, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: Way of Water. The Academy loves James Cameron. They really do.
To a fault, yeah.
And I went a little wild on my 5th one, much like John, and said Empire of Light. I don't think that movie's going to get a lot of love, but I think this is the category that it might. So,
Justin wants to try out Cinematographic Expialidocious. Ruben says he fell asleep on Top Gun Maverick twice and is giving up.
Can you go back to Justin's comment? Anybody who memorizes how to spell this word gets a free T-shirt and photos of me from the Rocky Horror Lock.
All right, I'm going to try to be a little more dramatic on some of these. I don't know why I wasn't doing this prior. So for cinematography,
oh, nice.
All Quiet on the Western Front.
There it is.
Nice. Bardot.
Wow.
They actually did go with one of my picks. It was on my picks, but not my predictions.
Fairly surprising.
Very happy about it.
Elvis.
There's Elvis.
Nice. Empire of Light.
Nice.
Hey.
On the other hand, it's Roger Deakins. You pretty much have to nominate it.
Yeah, that's why I put it on there. It on there.
And finally, which the locks that were mentioned don't seem to be locks so far.
You're not kidding, man.
The last one.
Top Gun.
Tar.
Wow.
Tar.
Wow.
You know what's interesting? I got an initial reaction.
No Top Gun and no Banshees. How do you not have Banshees on?
I'm shocked about Banshees. Top Gun, I could take or leave personally. I'm shocked about Banshees. Shocked.
I don't necessarily disagree on Top Gun, but that is, it was being picked to win. It was the favorite to win. If you're looking at predictions and the way things are trending, wow, that is my Tom Cruise guess early on is a joke at this point. Man, oh man, they are not going to get any love. If it didn't get cinematography, it may not get anything.
Can I say something that may be controversial, and I don't want to insult anybody? This isn't meant to be a diss at all to this particular person. It's meant more so just in the competition sense of what it's up against this year. Why is Tar on this list?
Oh, I agree.
I'm the reason I preface it is to say, great job, Florian Hofmeister. You're a great cinematographer, but up against so many other films that are, Tar is a character study. There's nothing about that cinematography that stands out. He did a great job. There's nothing that stands out about it that would put it over Elvis or Banshees or Babylon, for crying out loud.
Crazy.
Or probably even Top Gun.
The love is nuts too. I mean, so this is the second nomination for Tar this award season that has been a sort of shock. They were also nominated, or did they win Critics' Choice for score? There's no music in the film.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that, but
the music in the film is diegetic music. It's not score.
It's her playing. Yeah.
And so,
or somebody playing music. Yeah.
So the fact that it won score just kind of shows you the kind of people that are voting on this.
This is shocking. That's a shock.
That's a shock. That's
Empire.
I did just confirm best score was given to Tar at Critics' Choice.
Wow.
There you go.
Elvis, I misspoke earlier because I said, why would Elvis be over Tar? And Elvis is on the list. But, my point stands. But I'm very excited about Bardo. So it's great. It's a double-edged sword for me because I'm happy that's in there, but I just don't understand Tar.
I don't see how Banshees is not on this list. That is the most egregious snub I've seen in a couple of years.
I'm flabbergasted by that. If anything that I had on my picks for what I thought they would vote for, because I only got 2 in this category, All Quiet and Empire of Light.
Right.
If anything should have been on here, it should have been Banshees.
I'm in shock Top Gun's not there. I'm in shock that Tar is. I mean, that's insane.
You know what? As I look at my list, I'm seeing that I predicted this snub. Banshees was in my personal picks, but not in my predictions. I guess I had a feeling that they weren't gonna, and I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know why. I must have had a logistical reason for it when I did these over the weekend. But I think just knowing the way the Academy's minds work, I never expected it to be Tar, but I guess I had a feeling that Banshees would get snubbed.
Yeah, I don't see how something filmed mostly indoors like Tar, that is not some sort of revolutionary every frame a painting type of film.
I don't get it.
Anyways, what do we have up next? Costume design.
Costume design. All right.
Costume design. So I'm actually kind of really curious to see both of your guys' want list for this one.
All right. Want list or predictions?
Let's go want list first.
Okay.
What do you got, Jeremy?
Okay, me first. I have for costume design. Beep boop bop dee. My picks would be Everything Everywhere.
Of course.
You knew it was coming. But again, let's be real. Besides my love for that movie,
Michelle Yeoh wears like 900 costumes.
So does Stephanie Hsu.
Yeah.
They go above and beyond with the costumes, and they're all like crazy and ridiculous, and they work. And there's no. Yeah, I agree with Stan, by the way. Everything Everywhere is truly a snub for cinematography as well. I mean, we can't squeeze them all in. There's only 5 spots.
Right.
And obviously, Empire of Light was given to Roger Deakins because it's Roger Deakins. But I would like to see. I would love to have seen, instead of Empire of Light and Tar, Banshees and Everything.
Yeah.
In those 2 spots. Anyways, number 2 is Elvis. I didn't love the movie, but costumes were on point. Babylon, costumes are phenomenal. That's one of the things that's always pretty damn strong in Damien Chazelle's films, whether you like them or not.
True.
Blonde, again, similar to Elvis in the sense that it's a real life person. It's a period piece. Costumes were extremely on point.
Yeah.
Really well done. And because even if I didn't really care for this movie, really anytime you have a Marvel movie, you have to kind of include that into the costumes because they work. The costumes are really well done in these films. So I put Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Ugh. I think that's one of their worst costumed films.
Which I think it's a given in the actual predictions for what's going to be nominated. So,
But I would actually throw it out there that maybe Multiverse of Madness actually had better costuming than Black Panther.
I would say, but Black Panther is being considered as a Marvel movie more so than Multiverse.
Well, yeah, it's a diversity pick, sadly.
Yeah.
John, what's on
5
your wish
watts.
list?
I'll be quick. I think anytime Robert Eggers makes a movie, he needs to be up for costumes. I mean, The Northman is number one. The costumes are incredible. I've said this before. The patina of authenticity that are in all of his movies, whether it's his sets or his costumes, he belongs to number one. Number two is Elvis. Austin Butler had over 90 costume changes in the film. I learned that on the 4K disc. This is a physical media channel. Don't forget that, folks. Number 3, Babylon. Number 4, Everything Everywhere. And number 5, I have Pearl.
Interesting.
Pearl had really good costumes. Another period piece. You're right.
Yep,
And
period piece.
for the record, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have to be said, but real quick, I love Tar. It's a great movie. Just doesn't deserve cinematography award. Gotta point that out.
All right, Captain Disclaimer. Let's go to what we think is going to be nominated tonight.
Can't be too careful in this society, Ryan.
I understand, but nobody's watching The Disconnected to cancel a comedian and writer in LA. You're fine.
Instagram is like, you didn't like Tar? Anyways.
Kate Blanchett's going to wake you up at your door tomorrow.
Kate Blanchett's knocking. I wake up and Cat Stevens is gone, and I have a random note from Kate Blanchett. I didn't mean to slow down the broadcast by talking about Tar again.
It's all right. We've been a brisk hour and 44 minutes so far. I think we're doing all right.
John got my pun. Best costume design I have for my predictions: Elvis, number 1, which I think will win. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is also, I think, pretty much a lock. Those are maybe my only 2 locks. I also have number 3 is Babylon, number 4 is The Woman King, and number 5 is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I'm hoping makes it in.
We are the same on our top 4. I got Black Panther, Elvis, The Woman King, Babylon. And my number 5, a movie I watched with my wife. One of the few I watched with my wife this year that are nominated. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, a movie about costumes. You seen that one yet, Jeremy?
I have not seen that one. Do you think it stands a chance in the actual picks for the Oscar?
I think it stands a good chance.
Okay.
All right. Well, first I wanted to say Will Dodson's here. Hello, Will. He says, just getting here. I've ignored or boycotted the Oscars since Dances with Wolves, but if I were older, would have boycotted in 1932 with Grand Hotel.
Wow, what a history lesson. Thanks for joining us.
You teach film. Come on, Will. All right. Let's go through the 5. We got Babylon. That is the first nomination we've seen tonight.
Great.
1 out of 1 for both of us.
Black Panther: Wakanda
2 out of
Forever
2 for both of us.
Elvis.
Great.
3 out of 3. Great.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
4 out of 4 for this guy.
Oh, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Ooh.
And finally, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
Hey!
Wow.
We both win, John. What are we missing? Oh, Woman King.
The Woman King. Oh, no love it for The Woman King. No Viola Davis.
I love Viola Davis, but I have not seen Miss Harris Goes to Paris. But if it's about costumes, then I think it's probably more deserving.
I love that I said we had a brisk 1 hour 44 minutes so far, and Stefano says, no, it feels more like 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're gonna. Hey, you know what, Ryan? You should have introduced some playoff music to play us off as we meander around our ideas.
Oh, I can turn it up. All right, let's go to our next one. We got directed.
You know what? Stefano, get the hell out of here. If you think that.
No,
No
please.
one's forcing
please
you to
stay.
watch.
I am. Get back in the closet. Directing. This
Oh,
is another one that I feel like not necessarily locks, but I feel like there's a couple very obvious choices of guesses that are going to be good guesses.
Mhm.
But it also feels like they could just surprise with 5 out of nowhere picks almost. So, John, let's go with you first. Who are you wish listing?
Wish list. Number 1, Park Chan-wook, Decision to Leave. I've talked about how beautiful that film is, and there's no outstanding performances. It's just a beautiful piece of filmmaking. Number 2, directing Baz Luhrmann. To me, more than any performance in the film, it is a gorgeous piece of filmmaking. Number 3, Robert Eggers. I talked about how his films are just totally embedded. They totally embed you in the period, into the narrative. You can smell his films. Number 4, I have Charlotte Wells, After Sun. I probably would have had her a little higher if not for the 3 incredible filmmakers above her. And number 5, I have Damien Chazelle for Babylon. The movie getting no love, but like I said, I think it will be 10 years from now. It'll be one of the films, along with Everything Everywhere All at Once, that will be still talked about.
Well, and Damien is pretty much always in the conversation, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Gosh, I already forgot her name. After Sun, isn't this a debut for Catherine Wells? Is that the Charlotte Wells?
Charlotte Wells, writer directorial debut, yeah.
Which is insanity.
Absolutely. I can only hope she gets nominated, though I don't think it'll happen.
Right. All right, Jeremy. Other than the Daniels, who are you hoping gets nominated?
I'll make it quick for Stefano over here. Daniel, Charlotte Wells, Darren Aronofsky for The Whale, Alejandro Iñárritu for Bartel, Martin McDonagh for Banshees. I think the filmmaker's work speaks for itself.
Some crossover. Yeah. Decent. All right. Who do we think, first of all, locks for this? How many locks do you each have?
4.
4 locks.
4 locks. Yeah.
I have 4 as well.
Yeah.
So other than Steven Spielberg, who are the other 3 locks?
Daniels, McDonagh, and Field.
Yep, same.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's your 5th, John?
My heart says Baz Luhrmann, but
realistically speaking,
I'm actually gonna go with a different wild card. I'm going Edward Berger. I really think that those 14 BAFTA nominations are going to propel this movie into a lot of Academy love. I'm going number 5, Edward Berger, All Quiet on the Western Front.
Wow.
Great. The way these nominees have been going so far, you may get your wish because there's been surprises. I go James Cameron, just knowing the Academy. Avatar.
All right. One by one, here we go. Martin McDonagh.
That takes care of Avatar.
Right there.
Alphabetically. So
The Daniels.
Hey,
that's awesome. Spielberg. He's not terrible, obviously. He's one of the best of all time, but yeah, it's a given. And then Todd Field.
There he is. So is it going to be Ed?
Oh, that's great.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Dude.
Wow.
I'm so happy about that.
Me
I'll
too.
give that to who did I have? James. Well, yeah, I'd give more than James Cameron and more than.
Absolutely.
I liked All Quiet on the Western Front, but
I love that. I love that so much. I mean, his Force Majeure, The Square, and now Triangle, Side and Sadness, for him to be nominated for an Academy Award. Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, he deserves it. He deserves it.
He's 3 out of 3. He absolutely
He's 3 out of
deserves it.
3. Yeah.
And I just saw him about a week and a half ago at a screening at the Los Feliz Theater, and he did a Q&A moderated by Bill Hader, and one of the nicest guys, and a hoot as well, Ruben. He came out and did this whole introduction before the movie played, and he read the introduction, then he says, "Now let me do that introduction if all my A's were actually O's." And then he goes, "Oot and up, oot." It just sounded hilarious. But he's a great guy, and yeah, that's a very deserving nomination. I'm very happy about that.
Very interesting.
Love it.
Will says, John, I respect your opinions and agree with them, but I'm going with Jim Wynorski for Giantess Battle Attack for every major award.
Hey.
Will says, restore the Wynorski universe.
Okay. Some
Go
other people
Spartans.
have some stuff to say about Jim Wynorski.
Next up, documentary.
Oh,
So
okay.
first off, how much are you guys into documentaries?
I like documentaries, but I unfortunately, a lot of times I wait for the Oscar nominations to really pump through them. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
did see some, and I did write some down somewhere in my cue cards here.
Jeremy,
Okay.
why don't you go ahead and throw them in there first then?
I'm very much into documentaries. Unfortunately, this has been a rough year for me in terms of getting around to them. So I went with, for my picks, I went with the two that I did see that I enjoyed very much as my top, which is Moon Age Daydream and Fire of Love. I loved both of them very much, especially Moon Age Daydream. The sheer amount of time it took to weed through that footage and put that film together is astonishing.
Right.
And then for my final three after that, I just kind of went with ones I've been hearing a lot of buzz about or good words from friends and people I trust and stuff like that. So 3 is All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, 4, All That Breathes, and 5, Navalny. I believe is how you pronounce it.
Interesting. John, what do you got?
This is the wants.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 1, I'm going with Senior, the Robert Downey Jr. documentary that just came out on Netflix.
Oh,
That
I
thing,
forgot about Senior. I literally
Yeah.
forgot about it. I watched that.
I really wasn't expecting a whole lot, and then I watched it, and it was just like, crushing.
Wow.
Number 2, a documentary called 3 Minutes, A Lengthening. It's too crazy to go into now, but it's basically this 3 minutes of footage was found in Poland in somebody's grandfather's attic from right before World War II broke out, and they took the time to identify all of the faces in the film, and it turns out most of the town died during the Holocaust, and it's really emotional, moving piece. Number 3, I wrote down Fire of Love, which I thought was really unique, and I knew nothing about the couple that it was based on.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. Number 4, Facing Nolan, baseball documentary about Nolan Ryan. And number 5, I have Cinematographer, which I thought was okay, but I haven't seen many documentaries, so it slipped into my number 5.
Do we have any guesses that are very different before we just reveal these 5?
My guesses are exactly the same as what I said, except I unfortunately don't think Moon Age Daydream will get the recognition, so instead I swapped that out with Netflix's Descendant.
I have Navalny, Fire of Love, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, All That Breathes, and Descendant.
So we have the exact same list.
Yeah, this one I 100% think Fire Love is going to get nominated, and I would not be surprised if it won immediately.
Me too.
All right, we got.
Its only competition is All the Beauty and the Bloodshed in terms of actually winning. I think those two are pretty neck and neck in this category, from what I hear.
All right, we got All That Breathes,
Okay.
All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Fire of Love, A House Made of Splinters,
Never heard of it.
and
Me neither.
Navalny.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
So no Descendant.
What is A House Made of Splinters?
I do
Interesting.
not know.
I don't know.
All right, next up, documentary short film. Did you guys bother to guess on
No.
these?
I mean,
Okay.
I did not.
So for all the short films, unfortunately, I usually do get around to watching them, just not yet.
Right.
A lot of the theaters around LA will often play all the short film nominees.
Yep.
And I do intend on watching them before the Oscars. But since I haven't yet, literally all 3 short categories, my picks of my predictions are the same as my picks.
That makes sense.
So for this one, I have The Flag Makers, The Elephant Whisperers, 38 at the Garden, How Do You Measure a Year, and Holding Moses.
And the nominees are The Elephant Whisperers, Haul Out, How Do You Measure a Year, The Martha Mitchell Effect, and Stranger at the Gate.
So I was way off. I only got 1. Or I got 2. 2 out of 5.
You came up a bit short.
Stan, you got to check out Fire of Love. Fire of Love is remarkable.
Yeah, definitely check out Fire of Love for sure.
All right, next up we have editing.
Oh.
Now, this one, I feel like this is kind of a big deal category for this year. A lot of the major films had some really remarkable editing. I could see something like a Babylon coming in here. I could see Easily Elvis probably coming in here.
For sure.
John, we'll go with you first. What is your wish list?
My wish list number one would be Everything Everywhere, which I honestly think is probably the favorite at this point as well. Number two, I have After Sun. You're seeing a trend here. I mean, it should be nominated for editing just for that last 10 minutes alone.
Yep.
Elvis, it's just one big edit, the entire movie. 4, I have Babylon. Please see above. That's a similar, for the same reasons as Elvis is there. And number 5, I have Triangle of Sadness for just the way that it's incorporates 3 distinct chapters. I give it my number 5.
Interesting. Jeremy.
I also have Everything Everywhere. I have After Sun. I have also Babylon. I put Bones and All because I really appreciated the editing in that film. I guess that would be my swap for Elvis and John's list because that movie made me nauseous. I went with I almost regret this, but because I was not going to put it in any other category in my personal picks, I felt like this is the most deserving category in my opinion for this film. I put Top Gun Maverick.
Interesting. I'm going to throw a wrench into the situation and put you guys on the spot for a second. And the chat, by all means, please answer this question. A lot of people, when they're watching some of these, they are not necessarily paying attention to editing when it's good editing. Could you name something, say from the last decade, that to you sticks out as an awful example of editing? Something that you go, wow. Oh my God, they definitely needed to edit this differently.
The fact that Bohemian Rhapsody won an Oscar for editing is the biggest black eye on that category they could ever have.
Honestly, what John just said was literally the first thing that jumped into my mind as well when you asked that question.
Wow. So,
Jeremy, I'm going to make you answer a different one though. You can't just copy him.
It truly was not even a copy. It was the first thing I thought of, because even in that video of me from that year's Oscars when I'm getting progressively drunk that you'll never see because you're so mean, when he wins that category I go boo, a very drunk Jeremy. But yeah, so that was the first thing that came to mind. I would say
Joe Jack says Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
I haven't seen that.
Will says every Tarantino movie.
Wow.
Boo,
ouch.
Boo.
Yeah. How do you pick somebody?
I even like the post Sally Menke movies. Come on.
Can you come back to me? That's a tough question. I don't know.
A common misconception with editing is just because a movie's 3.5 hours doesn't mean it's poorly edited either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can have a movie that's 3 hours and doesn't feel like 3 hours because of how well it's edited. Which
I would say Babylon's a lot like that.
I was gonna say that for me, Babylon was that. I did not know it was 3 hours going into it. I was rushing from work to a PGA screening, sat down at 7 right when the movie was starting, didn't have time to think about anything else. And the lights came up and the credits started rolling and I looked at my watch and it was 10 and I was like, the fuck? It didn't feel like
I wanted more, honestly. I was like, keep it coming.
Stan Geezy says unpopular opinion, Whiplash.
Wow, I would disagree with that too. I don't know. It's hard for me to think of something that other than the obvious that John already mentioned, and really that's only an obvious thing that comes to mind because it won Best Editing when it clearly shouldn't have that year. Otherwise it probably would be just as forgotten to me as every other bad editing film I've seen, and that's why I can't think of anything right now.
John Stumpf says, hot take, Elvis shouldn't be in consideration for editing because I thought it was bad.
It's not a hot take, John. I agree with you.
I'll throw out an easy one. And obviously they are already picked on by a lot of people, especially when discussing award stuff. I think a lot of the even like B tier and below MCU films are egregiously bad and poorly edited. There's a lot of pacing issues with many of those films.
Yeah, it's hard to, I think it's hard to not give them a little bit of a pass.
That was really funny. David Becker says, eyes wide shut when Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman are about to smash.
That's a good example. I don't mean to keep stealing people's answers, but Yeah, it's hard not to give the Marvel's movies a pass when you're trying to cram like hundreds of years of comic books into a story. But into like a 2.5 hour movie. But I hear what you're saying. For sure.
Yeah, Guardians 2 is one of the bigger ones for me. That has a lot of weird pacing issues.
Yeah.
All right, let's see picks for what we think are going to be on this list.
Okay.
Let's go, Jeremy, first on this one.
Top Gun Maverick is, I think, a lock. Everything Everywhere, I think, is a lock. Elvis, I think, is a lock. And I'm pretty confident about Fabelmans as well. And then my fifth pick is All Quiet on the Western Front.
Ooh.
We're the same on 4 of them. I subbed, instead of All Quiet, I have Banshees, which is a film that it doesn't have very flashy editing, but it's an example.
That's kind of what Brian was just talking about. It's one of those editings where you can't even feel you're sucked into the world because the editing is so good.
So I think it's Everything Everywhere, Top Gun, Elvis, Banshees, and Fabelmans.
Okay.
I'm kind of shocked. No Babylon on either of yours.
I just don't think they're going to consider it.
Yeah.
It's not getting a lot of love.
I don't think the industry loved that film.
Yeah, it's sad.
Most people didn't.
Yeah.
Most people didn't.
All right, here we go. We got Banshees.
Hey, I'm happy about that.
Nice.
That is great. Elvis, of course. Everything Everywhere. Nice.
Good.
And then and Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, this is a good time to use the restroom, which I've had to do for a while.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So no Fabelmans again.
I don't know. I mean, again, I like the movie, but it's getting nominated in all the wrong categories. I mean, it did get Cate Blanchett, and she's deserving, and it did get Todd Field, and he's deserving for director, but none of these technical awards should really be going to Tar.
Listen, it already has Field, it has Blanchett. Those aren't surprises. The surprises are going to really propel it into a contender for Best Picture at this point.
It is actually. You're right. It really is.
Well, and obviously with Best Picture, we have more nominees. Jeremy, go to the bathroom. You said you were going like 2 minutes ago.
I do, but then I had a comment. I don't know. I can't pick a good time. Don't go on without me.
I'm just going to banish you. There you go. You're gone. So yeah, this is an odd one. I'm honestly shocked that Fabelmans is not up here.
Yeah, that was one of my 4 locks. Honestly, I had my 5th. I had Banshees. I mean, Tar is looking like a juggernaut. Honestly, at this point, it's looking like it's going to show up in a lot of unexpected places. We'll see.
Justin Robbins, Barbarian should be nominated in this one just for the editing of the tape measure scene. That's a great scene.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put Barbarian on a lot of these lists, honestly.
Yeah, nothing here super shocking. Although Tar, I don't know, man.
I think the 2 favorites are going to be Top Gun and Everything Everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, from an editing perspective, they're 2 totally different,
very different
perspectives and way they're cut. I think the more flashy is obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once, because just for those sequences alone of Michelle Yeoh, it's such a unique experience to witness on a big screen, and it's almost like a Gaspar Noé film at some point when you're watching those moments, and it's jarring for a reason. While in Top Gun, it's Top Gun. I mean, it's planes go fast, and
I am kind of shocked that this is, if I remember right, I believe the first time we've seen Top Gun tonight at all, right?
I think this is the first one we've seen tonight. Yes, I've guessed. I've had it on a few predictions. I've been let down a couple of times with the first one. This is the first one it's came through. So, but yeah, Tar is doing big things. Yeah. I think we haven't gotten to Best Picture yet, but it's I think it's joining the holy trinity of favorites. I mean, it'd be it'd be at number 4 for me now, behind the top 3.
Wow. I think picture is going to be interesting because there's a lot with 10 nominees that you could easily lock in 6 or 7, but those other 3 could really go in very different directions. Very curious how this goes. I know that Jeremy doesn't want us to go on, but just so you can get ready.
Yeah.
International. which
right.
I think is a really interesting year. And I almost just want to leave Jeremy in the green room for a minute. All right, here we go.
Have I become the flip of the show? What's going on here?
Not at all.
Okay. Real quick, I just wanted to say, besides the fact that we're all dumbfounded by Tar being on there, I think it's a neck and neck. You might have already. I'm sure you already talked about it when I went to the.
Not yet.
I think it's a neck and neck between Everything Everywhere and Top Gun for that particular category. I'd love to see it go to Everything Everywhere because wow, the editing in that. I'm shocked Fablemans aren't there. I think my top 3 that I thought were going to get picked are on there: Top Gun, Everything Everywhere, and Elvis. And then the other 2 are the outliers because I picked Fablemans and All Quiet. And I think Banshees is deserving, so that's a pleasant surprise. And I would say Fablemans over Tar. Because say what you want about the movie, but I thought the editing was good in Fablemans. So
The Fablemans is literally, you can make an argument that The Fablemans is a movie about editing.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, you could make that argument,
Yeah.
and it would be correct.
It is literally him editing his entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next we have international feature, and obviously this is one that's got a little more attention over the last handful of years because of bigger name titles and people branching out a little bit to some of the more underseen films from previously. So, Jeremy, let's go first with you. What are your wish list titles for international?
My wish, the Disconnected Bunch. I like that. We just got to look around. Isn't that what they do during the theme song? They're just like, oh, hey. Best international film. My number 1 pick is also my 5th favorite movie of the year. Bardo, A False Chronicles of a Handful of Truths. In a talking about somebody like Ruben Ostlund, who's like 3 out of 3 with his films, and why did I just forget his name?
Park Chan-wook.
Well, Park Chan-wook for sure. Why did I just? No, Northman. Why did?
Eggers.
Eggers, 3 out of 3. Ryan disagrees, but anyways, Inarito has such a phenomenal filmography, and I think this is his best film yet, and it's clearly his most personal, and it's a phenomenal film. I mean, he won Best Picture for Birdman, and yet I still think this is just astounding. Number 2 would be something that I think took the world by storm. Definitely Los Angeles for sure, because the amount of screenings that happened out here for it, specifically by Beyond Fest, my favorite festival of all time. RRR. I think people are. I think it certainly has, in general, a higher fan base or even just viewership in general than most Bollywood films.
Which I'd almost say more than all Bollywood films. I think.
I don't think it's eligible for international feature film this year because they didn't submit it. They wanted to go for Best
picture instead.
So I don't know that it's eligible this year. I mean, it would have been a shoo-in for a nomination. Right. We'll see in a minute, but it wasn't eligible.
That would be interesting.
Parasite did the same thing. It wasn't eligible for international. Because
maybe I knew that. Maybe old Jeremy, because listen, the days, I don't remember what I had for breakfast. Oh yeah, it was nothing. But I don't, maybe old Jeremy, when making this list, knew that, John, because it's not in my picks it's not in my predictions for international films. But assuming it qualifies, or if we're just talking about international films in general under my picks category, it's definitely.
I agree.
3 is Decision to Leave. Park Chan-wook. I think Ryan, last time when I was on the show, I mentioned about when I went to a screening of Decision to Leave, and I said to Park Chan-wook via his interpreter, "You're one of my top 5 filmmakers of all time." And then he put me on the spot by saying, "What are your other 4?" I was like, "Whoa!" I had to quickly scramble to think of a list. But anyways, I love Park Chan-wook. I think he's another flawless filmmaker, and Decision to Leave is another amazing film by him. All Quiet on the Western Front, and number 5 then is EO, which I just saw, and I'll tell you what, I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, EO, or as much as people are raving, and something that I think I will actually love way more. And had I had a chance to see it prior to making these lists, I think it would be on there. I could be wrong. I think I'm going to see it this weekend. Is Close. But I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I'll keep
Interesting.
Whether or not that I would probably swap out EO with that, depending on how much I like Close when I see it this weekend.
All right. John, what do we got on your wish?
Wish list. Number 1, Decision to Leave. I've talked at length about that one. Number 2, I have All Quiet on the Western Front. It speaks for itself. If we're including RRR, I would put probably RRR at number 3. But I'm going to skip that one and go totally off the rails for my last 3. A movie called You Won't Be Alone that I saw at Sundance last year, which is sort of a folk horror, Terrence Malick inspired, creepy witch movie. Number 4, a movie that was in my top 22 for the year this year, a horror movie called Hatching, which was some of the best creature effects I saw all year. And number 5, I have Claire Denis' Both Sides of the Blade would be my number 5.
You know what, John? I love your picks. Both Sides of the Blade is one of the few films of 2022 that I didn't get to see. Literally on my of list for the year. I have my best of, then I have my honorable mentions, and then I have a very small list of ones that I think could easily be on one of those lists that I didn't get a chance to see yet. And Both Sides of the Blade is one of those few films.
It's great. It's really good. It's not going to have a lot of rewatch value, but it's phenomenal.
I love Claire Denis.
She's great.
You unlocked a memory for me because I had seen You Won't Be Alone so early in the year. I had completely forgotten about it.
Yeah, it's great.
It is good.
I'm a little worried because Couch says incoming snubs.
Oh, so, God. That's a spoiler. Didn't you read?
Oh, man.
With that in mind, who do you think is getting the actual nominee here? John, why don't you go first for this one?
I have All Quiet as a lock. I have Decision to Leave as a lock. I have Argentina 1985 as a lock because I think it won Critics' Choice out of the blue. My last 2, I have a movie I haven't seen yet, Close. Like Jeremy said, it's getting a lot of love. And number 5, a film I haven't seen yet, but that Jeremy loves, is Bardo. That would be my 5.
To make it quick, we have the exact same list and the exact same locks. Those first 3, I think, are locks. Close, I think, is going to get nominated, even though I haven't seen it yet. And that one's not a lock. That's 4 for me. And then 5, I would love to see Bardo on the list, but something in me, I guess, told me it was going to get snubbed. I put EO at 5.
Interesting. All right, here we go. We got All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Close.
So no Bardo.
EO.
Oh, nice.
And The Quiet Girl.
I don't know that one.
I don't know that one either.
I don't either.
So wait, no Decision to Leave?
No decision. Oh, that's what.
Wait, what was he put in for Best Picture possibly?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Wow.
When Couch Odyssey said incoming snubs, that's what he meant.
He's got to be talking about Decision to Leave.
I mean,
that is shocking.
Just absurd.
Bardo and Decision to Leave, in my opinion. Even though I predicted Bardo getting snubbed, I'm shocked. Decision to Leave. That's an assault.
That's obscene.
It's an assault to filmmaking that a Park Chan-wook movie is not on this list.
I mean, Park Chan-wook should just get nominated when he announces a film.
I'm shocked.
I hope it wasn't eligible because that's just absurd.
Thus far, that is the worst snub of this year.
That's the worst snub.
There's been some weird stuff like Tar getting cinematography nomination, but this takes the cake so far.
That's a joke.
I'm legitimately upset about it. I don't know what The Quiet Girl is.
No, I don't either, actually.
It's not Decision to Leave.
That's all we care about.
Ouch. Man.
That's a killer.
Wow. Boycott.
That's it. Oscars are canceled. All right. Makeup and hairstyling. Is this one that you both go ham on?
I don't know about ham, maybe turkey.
All right, John, what do you got for smoked turkey for makeup and hairstyling?
All right, wish list. Obviously, number 1, The Whale. Number 2, Elvis. Number 3, Babylon. Those are my obvious ones. Number 4, I have Pearl, which I just decided to give that more love because I thought it was in my top 10 of the year. And number 5, obviously, I've said it enough tonight, The Northman, number 5.
And we still have nothing for the Northman on the entire thing yet.
The Northman's not going to get anything.
Yeah, it's not getting
right.
Yeah. Nope.
All right, Jeremy, what do you got for a wish list?
I just sorry, I was agreeing with Holland Oates. It got snubbed. I have also The Whale. Also Everything. Did you say Everything Everywhere?
I did not put that in my. I did not put that in my wish list. Although it will be. I don't actually didn't write it down on my.
It's not in my picks either. It's on my wish list because much like the costumes, it was top notch across the board for that movie. Obviously, The Whale is number 1 though. 3, Blonde. Marilyn Monroe, Ana de Armas. All the makeup and hairstyling of that period piece was phenomenal. 4, Elvis. Same reasoning. And 5, I went with The Batman. I mean, I did not recognize fucking Colin Farrell. I'll tell you what.
That's true.
That's a good call.
This is an interesting one. I think that there's, maybe 2 locks. The Whale is the obvious choice, and I would be surprised if The Whale didn't win on this one.
I'd be shocked if The Whale.
Yeah.
That's
all right. So, what are the 5 that you are guessing is going to be nominated there, Jeremy?
Whale, Elvis, I think are locks. And then I do have The Batman on there.
Interesting.
I have All Quiet on the Western Front. It's a war movie.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a given. And then once again, despite our personal thoughts about it, number 5 is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
I thought you were going to say Tar.
I'm just going to start being and Tar, and Tar.
All right, John, what are you thinking?
I think we have 4 out of 5 the same. I have The Whale as the obvious favorite. Elvis, The Batman, Black Panther, and I have Babylon.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to be much of a surprise. We got All Quiet on the Western Front.
Okay.
The Batman.
Oh.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Elvis and The Whale.
5 out of 5.
Nicely done.
That's only the second category I think out of the whole night that's been 5 out of 5 though for me.
Let's be honest though, Ryan. If anybody was going to win the hair category, it would be Jeremy here.
Obviously.
Come on.
I'll take it.
Again, I don't see this going to anybody but The Whale, obviously. All right, next, original score.
Ooh, this is one I'm passionate
about. There's not a lot that I would say about this one this year, other than I just want to bring up the same thing I've said like 4 times this year, that I came out of The Batman and put on the score in the car because it was so freaking incredible, and went home and there was a thunderstorm going, and it was one of the most transcendent post-movie experiences in a couple of years. Anyways, John, what's your wish list?
The Batman would be my number 2. That would be my number 2. I agree with you. And I've heard you talk about it enough that I've actually kind of delved deep into the soundtrack myself. So I agree with you at number 2. My number 1 would be Bones and All, a movie that's getting no love when it comes to score. It's Trent Reznor, Alex Ross. I don't know how they're not nominated. They're not going to get nominated. I don't know how that's possible, but number 3, I have The Northman, obviously. Number 4, I have Babylon, which is probably the favorite and would be a very worthy winner. And then you got to go John Williams, The Fabelmans, number 5, which is it's not a typical John Williams score. It's a very subtle, perfect score for the film. I thought it was great.
Well, and I don't remember, is it this one or is there one more that he said is going to be his last one?
I think he said that was the last time he's going to work with Spielberg. I don't know about those.
Okay.
He lied. Well, it's funny. They had a event here. It was Williams and Spielberg doing a talk at the Writers Guild.
Arrow, right?
Actually, at the Writers Guild Theater, but
interesting.
By American Cinematography, yes. And I don't know. I forget. Maybe he was not going to work with Spielberg again. I don't know. I mean, that seems weird.
Yeah.
But his whole announcement of retirement, he
Oh, he
Rewind.
drove it back. Oh,
Yeah.
I had not heard that he reversed that. All
He
right,
announced that at that event.
nice. All right, what's your wish list then, Jeremy?
The good news is, aside from Elvis, John and I are pretty much in sync with a lot of stuff. Bones and All was my number one. The fact that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, sorry, I love them both, just tongue-tied, could come out with a score at all and it not be considered by the Academy, which is not going to be, let alone this beautiful score, which literally makes me emotional when I watch the movie. It's almost entirely just acoustic guitar, and it's unbelievably, I mean, it sets the mood for the entire film, and it somehow captures the road, like the Badlands-esque road travel movie element of the film, while also simultaneously capturing the emotional aspect that the character. I honestly was blown away. I mean, I love those two guys in general, and pretty much any score they've done, but this one is a particularly top notch to me. And I was lucky enough to see them at a Q&A too for this movie, and they also said that this is one of their favorite scores that they've ever done, and that they felt a really close connection with the characters in the movie when they were doing this.
It's as important a score to a film that was released last year, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting. All right.
2
what
is
else
Everything Everywhere. That's a given for me. 3, Babylon. I mean, you can't not have a Damien Chazelle movie that's not going to be considered first. Or he incorporates music so heavily into that, and it's a beautiful score. I mean, especially the Johnny Greenwood doesn't have an Oscar, does he? Which is a crime against humanity. Yes, DC agrees. Damien Chazelle, I mean, especially the ever-changing Margot Robbie, what's her character's name? Anyway, Margot Robbie Diego theme, when those two characters are together, that consistently changes throughout the film depending on the mood, is unbelievable. And he really has a way with music in his films. 4, Banshees of Inisherin, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful score. And 5 is Bardo, also for me has a phenomenal score.
All right, guesses. How many are locks here?
I think Babylon is a lock, and I think Fabelmans is a lock.
I think so.
I think those two. Those are my only 2 locks, I think. I'd like to say Banshees of Inisherin. I'll say it. I'll say lock for that too. Live on the edge, you guys.
Tar again.
I have those 3, and then I have Women Talking.
Oh,
and which had a very also a very good score, and it's not getting a lot of recognition elsewhere, unfortunately, that movie. And then I have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. What are yours, John?
Interesting.
We're very close. We're very close. I have Babylon, Pinocchio, Women Talking, Fabelmans, and my number 5 is Avatar.
Instead of Banshees.
Okay. I don't agree with that, but I think we may be seeing it.
Seibner says Blonde should get nominated for score. Stan Geezy says I don't get the Chazelle love. Yeah, I get that.
I didn't love La La Land, but I fucking loved Babylon.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I loved La La Land too, but I loved Babylon.
All right, what do we got? We got All Quiet on the Western Front.
Okay, right out of the gate, a shocker.
That's picking up a lot more than I expected.
I don't know if I necessarily loved the score in that, TBH, but
I don't remember it. So
yeah, I'm not remembering it off the top of my head either.
Babylon.
Desplat did do Pinocchio, DC.
Then we have the Banshees of Inisherin.
Okay. Nice,
interesting.
The great Carter Burwell.
And Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
I'm so happy.
Wow. And finally, The Fabelmans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Women Talking off of my list, and
ooh man, no love for Women Talking yet today, right?
No love.
Nothing at all.
Wait, two Oh, Pinocchio's not on here.
No Pinocchio. Wow, that's surprising because they're
So-
gonna be. Yeah.
Everything every. Oh, you know what? I didn't have everything everywhere on my predictions. I had it on my wish list, but not my predictions. So that's great.
That is
So
great.
that's in place of Pinocchio, and then All Quiet on the Western Front in place of Women Talking.
Wave says All Quiet score was the one where they did the annoying blast of horns throughout the whole thing.
Maybe that's why I don't remember the score, because it was so quiet. Okay, what's next?
Next, original song.
Oh man, I don't think I have a wish list for this one.
I do.
Hold on.
I don't even know that I can name 3.
This is actually a category where I had a very hard time because there was one that I wanted to put on the list and it got bumped because I was like, oh wait, what about this one? And
Oh, jeez.
you know what I'm talking about, Ryan.
Oh, Dinner in America. Got it.
I don't have a wish list for this one, but I have a 5 prediction. So if you have a wish list, Jeremy.
Okay. Now you know Weird, the Al Yankovic story, which literally says in the song, this song is now eligible for Oscar consideration. It will not get picked. 2, Just for a Moment, but in Bones and All, the unbelievably beautiful and heart-crushing end song
Yeah, it's a
by
great
Atticus
call.
Ross and Trent Reznor. Hey, if they want to monitor this and see what a fucking bad job they're doing, then put it in the Academy. Number 3 is This Is a Life, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Sun Lux. Absolutely beautiful end credit song. 4, which I almost forgot about and had something else on the list, and then I was like, oh shit, of course this has to be on my wish list that'll never get considered ever.
Of course.
Watermelon, Dinner in America. And then 5, which I think there will be legitimate riots in the street if it doesn't get nominated, is Natu Natu RRR.
Yeah.
The 6th one that was on the list before Dinner in America was New Wave Ramba, I think it's called, from White Noise.
Oh yeah.
We had the song from during the credits of that, which I thought was so much
I tried to
fun.
block that entire movie from my life.
Oh, that's John's Elvis for me. I love
my-
White Noise.
I hated I that was one of my 2 or 3 F's from last year.
Ooh.
So we have
Wasn't for me. Wasn't for
we
me.
have one disagreement each.
It's
I don't know if
could've
Elvis
been a
was
lot
an F for
worse.
me because I love Austin's performance, but it was certainly like a low C maybe.
yeah.
Wow. John, did you see Dinner in America?
I didn't yet. No.
Please watch it.
I will. I got to get the disc.
Ryan, remember that time when Sean Baker
I've heard of him, yes.
sent that movie to
John Waters.
John Waters, and John Waters put it in his top 10 movies of the year?
That's awesome.
What a magical moment. 2 of my favorite filmmakers of all time sharing the love for this movie that deserves it so much, that is so underrated for this year.
I agree. John, what is your guesses?
Natsu's got to be the favorite, holding down Lady Gaga. I mean, who'd have thunk it Lady Gaga was going to get beat by a song from RRR, but I'm hoping that's the chick. I'm hoping that happens. Hold My Hand, number 2, Lady Gaga, Top Gun. Number 3, Ciao Papa from Pinocchio, which is kind of an earworm. 4, Lift Me Up, Black Panther. And 5, This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
We
Nice.
have the exact same list up until 5.
Oh.
As much as I would love This Is a Life to get nominated, I had my fears that it wouldn't. I put Carolina from When the Crawdads Sing.
Oh.
It was like a much more Oscar baity one, unfortunately.
Well, I would agree that it's Oscar baity. However, after what seems to be happening tonight, I almost think Everything Everywhere will take it.
I hope so, but I also hope Natu gets in for obvious reasons, and I think it will.
I would be shocked if it didn't.
Yeah. There's a lot of petitioning around that one.
How about that Something in the Way song by Kurt Cobain? Sure did a great job working on the Batman. Oh, what a mind-blowing comment. I have no idea.
Is that an up-and-coming artist that I've
Oh, man. Okay, here we go. We got Applause from Tell It Like a Woman.
What the hell is that?
I'm out.
Jeremy, do you know this one?
I don't know. Tell It Like a Woman? I don't know. I don't know what that is. And
Diane Warren.
All right.
If this gets it over.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Hold My Hand.
Okay.
So no Chow Papa, right?
Okay, yeah, no Chow Papa.
Lift Me Up from Black Panther.
Yeah.
I mean, John and I both predicted that, despite us being like, eh.
Yes, but
It's Rihanna.
still.
That's the Rihanna song, yeah.
Not
Okay,
to.
there it is. That's good news.
And, whoa!
Nice.
Oh, great. Okay, great. I'm happy about that.
Great.
So, what got snubbed? Not
No,
necessarily snubbed, but what was left out?
no Chow Papa and the Crawdads one.
What did you?
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
I had Chow Papa instead of Applause.
Oh, but you got 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I guess this is a life.
Okay. Well, I could care less about where the Crawdads sing. I didn't like that movie, so I don't know. I don't know what the hell Tell It Like a Woman is, but
Neither do I.
I won't comment since I don't know about it. I'm really happy that this is a life got in, and Not to. I mean,
It's shaping up. It's shaping up, looking like it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once is Night. I'd hate to be the jinx, but
listen. A lot of people are still hard pressed to. Oh, Diane Warren and Tell It Like a Woman. All right. A lot of people, I think, are still not convinced that Everything Everywhere will take Best Picture. I'm pretty convinced about it, and it would probably be my favorite Best Picture win as long as I've been watching the Oscars.
Yeah.
That's my 4th favorite movie of all time now. That's how much I love that movie.
All right. Well, we're going to be getting to pictures soon, but not right now. I'm going to come back to that last. Of course.
You can't look at it either.
I'm
Ryan.
not. I scrolled very quickly. But now there's no way to do this next one without seeing them all. Okay, so we're gonna do production design.
This next one we just won't be able to do the dramatic.
This won't be as dramatic, yeah. So production design. This one, when I started thinking about it, this was one of the ones from this year that was more difficult for me to think about. It seems to be a lot of really interesting set pieces this year. So let's go, John, first. What's your wish list here?
My number one is no surprise. It's The Northman's. Like I said, it's Robert Eggers. Production design's what he does. I mean, he literally was a set designer before he was a director.
That's true.
And in John's Oscars, he now has 27 nominations.
me and Flip, right? Doesn't he like Northman?
Yeah, he does.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah, if John was running the Oscars, Eggers would be having a field day.
Hell of a night.
And he'd be the co-host for some reason.
Number 2, I have Babylon, which I think has to be the favorite at this point, followed right behind by Elvis. Elvis, obviously, those are 2 big production designs. I mean, they're gorgeous. Number 4, I think it was one of my favorites before all the buzz, All Quiet on the Western Front. I mean, the production design on that is just remarkable. And The Fabelmans, it's a period piece. It's everything about it is subtly great to me. I love The Fabelmans, so that would be my number 5.
Honestly, the Fabelmans has been more divisive than I thought. A lot of people didn't love it, and usually something that's so Hollywood masturbatory, usually people worship it. I'm kind of shocked.
I don't get it, honestly. I thought it was phenomenal. And, he's a master.
Yeah. Jeremy, what's your wish list?
My wish list. By the way, I agree with DC. I'm not so sure. As much as I love the movie and the song, I'm not so sure Everything Everywhere is a lock. I think the love surrounding Natu is really going to make that push through.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. My wish list, production design, Everything Everywhere. Babylon, which I think is indeed the shoe-in, like John said. Armageddon Time for what? Production design?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know.
That's not actually was pretty good. That's a good call. I mean, it's a very specific time in New York.
Period piece.
They kind of nailed it. That's a good call.
Babylon, Bardo. I'm trying to give all the love I can to Bardo, which also had great production design.
Right.
John's not gonna like me, but 4 is White Noise. Which John had good production design. Think about that supermarket.
I hate that. I mean, that was just the perfect way to end that movie with that damn supermarket. It was like, all right. You know what? That was the one time that Netflix was like good, where they bring up like what to watch next. It's like, all right, just get it off my screen.
You didn't appreciate the satire on capitalism? Clearly. Do you like Mike, serious question, are you a fan of Don DeLillo novels, of his writing?
I have never read a Don DeLillo novel, but I have read that was an unfilmable book, and I can see why.
I think, honestly, if anybody was going to do it, Noah Baumbach should have, and he did the best he could. And while it was quite challenging, I can't imagine anybody else trying to tackle that book besides him.
Nor should they have.
That was such a sophisticated insult. I loved that so much. All right. So was that the whole wish list?
I got sidetracked.
Yes, you did.
My steaming rage against John. Bones and All was number 5. So that's my top. That's my 5.
Going through some comments.
Spike Jones could have tackled it, DC says. I agree with that. Or even a frequent collaborator of Spike Jones, Charlie Kaufman, I think would have been somebody that could have easily tackled.
I like that idea, actually. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Dylan Smithy, I love how everyone is confusing Diane Warren with that of Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. I was really underwhelmed by The Fabelmans, got to be honest. Felt like fluff for all the soul searching it was supposed to cover. Got more about him from other films. Interesting.
Huh.
And then DC, give production design to Blonde. No?
Maybe. I'm not mad about it.
They certainly put a camera where no camera's gone before.
Ha! They did do that.
Well, you can't guarantee that.
that we've seen on the big screen.
True. Yes, we have actually gone over what they're wearing tonight. John is sporting New Beverly, and Jeremy is.
Oh, I have. It just happens to be a Ron Lynch shirt, Mr. Versatility.
All right. Guesses for this one. Production design.
I got Babylon, number 1, lock. Number 2, Elvis, lock.
Easily.
After that, I have number 3, Avatar, which is always a tough one for me, but I think this is where it gets in.
I think it's a lock, yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, I have All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
And number 5, I'm trying to will this into some nomination, but the Batman. How about give something to the Batman?
I would love that.
Definitely expecting you to say the Northman right there.
It doesn't stand a chance, sadly.
No.
My top 3 are the same as John. I'd love to see the Batman get in there, but my 4 is Black Panther and my 5 is Fabelmans.
Black Panther. Interesting.
Oh, that says rooting for Tar.
All right, so I'm going to do my version of drama here and go one for one. First, we have All Quiet on the Western Front.
Hey, there you go, John.
Second, Avatar, The Way of Water.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Babylon, Elvis,
yep,
and The Fabelmans.
Okay.
So
All Quiet instead of Black Panther. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And your list is what? Spot on, John?
I forced the Batman in instead of.
That's right. Instead of what? Fabelmans?
Yeah.
And honestly, I could have seen it going that way, possibly.
Paul Dano's in both of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Got some left over, not a ton though. Short film animated. John, are you out on this one as well?
Out.
I'll just tell you what I think. I'll just tell you once again, like I said, the short category. It's actually funny.
Oh man.
All the short categories, like I said earlier, my wish list is the same as my
just guessing, yeah.
predictions until I see them. But for best animated short?
Yes, sir.
The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. That's all one category, by the way, not four. 2 is New Moon. 3, Save Ralph. 4, The Flying Sailor. And 5, My Year of Dicks. Which seems like an autobiography title for my life. Based on hanging out.
All right, so we got The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. Nice.
All right.
The Flying Sailor.
All
2
right.
for 2. Ice Merchants.
Never heard of it.
My Year of Dicks.
Hey!
And an ostrich told me the world is fake, and I think I believe it. Wow.
I have no fucking clue what that is, but I want it to win just based off of that title.
It is a very long title.
Great name by the director too, Lachlan Pendragon. How about that?
Pendragon.
Look at
Okay. How do I watch this tonight?
that.
And how does he not get the Oscar now?
An ostrich told me the world is fake, and I think I believe it. How does that not win?
Just wait till the sequel when they give it a subtitle too.
Yeah, the sequel is The Ostrich is a Lying Fuck.
And it can eat my year of dicks.
That ostrich lied to me, and his family is in trouble. That's what the sequel.
Short film live action.
Okay.
John, are you out for this one too?
Nothing. I got nothing.
What do we got, Jeremy?
I have Le Pew Pew, An Irish Goodbye, Warsaw, The Red Suitcase, and Knock 'em.
Knock 'em. All right. Quickly. An Irish Goodbye.
Okay.
Ivalu or Ivalu?
Okay. Never heard of it.
Le Pupil. Oh, Alfonso. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Night Ride
I don't
and
know
The Red
that one.
Suitcase.
Okay. 3 out of 5.
Not too bad for not seeing any of them. Nice.
Yeah, pure guesses.
All right. Sound. This is an interesting one. Because obviously this usually will go to something a
Stan-
lot more mainstream.
Yeah, Stan's review of Avatar is literally out of my brain. Beautiful and forgettable.
Yep.
It's like, what a great one-time watch on the big screen in 3D, and never again in my life after that.
All right. Sound. What do we got, John? What's your wish?
Well, I didn't really think outside the box on this one. My wish list is honestly the same as my prediction. So let Jeremy go first with his wish
Okay.
list. It's honestly the same.
So, what I think has it in the bag, and once again, for me, as somebody who didn't love this movie as much as the rest of the world, what about if they bring Andy Dick out and
Oh, God.
Tar for sure and sound. No, I think Top Gun Maverick has it in the bag. I think if it deserves any award, it's this, even if I didn't love the movie as much as the rest of mankind. Everything Everywhere is my number 2 pick. 3 is Avatar. 4 is Elvis. And 5 is All Quiet on the Western Front. I went with fairly generic picks for this one.
Yeah, and not really shocking.
Actually, to be honest, I'm now realizing that my picks are indeed the same as my predictions, just like
Right?
John, just in a slightly different order.
Yeah,
is all.
I think my top picks would be number 1, Top Gun. It's almost not even debatable. I mean, that's the immersion of that surround sound, that atmos in a movie theater was incredible. Number 2, Elvis. Those performances, the 50 minutes worth of performances in that movie are unbelievable. 3, I have Avatar. 4, I have Babylon. And number 5, maybe The Batman. Hear me
Maybe.
out. Number 5. This is the category for The Batman.
I love that you had 3 nominees, Babylon, then a question mark, and then maybe The Batman.
Yeah,
I know.
that sounds about right.
Really, what we should do is have John announce him at the Oscars. I'd love for him. No, sorry, not at the Oscars. He should have been at the recording this morning, so he could have been like, Babylon? Hear me out. The Batman. Can you imagine the live stream? Who was on the live stream this morning? I don't even know since I didn't watch.
No clue. I would have loved that. The nominees are maybe The Batman.
Just imagine Allison Janney on the live stream being like, and hear me out, the Batman?
So D. Seibner wants to know, there's the new question. Who should announce my year of dicks?
Oh, that's a good call.
You know who
That's
would
gonna
have
be one of
fun
the
with it?
pre-recorded ones, probably though.
John mentioned it earlier. John mentioned this person earlier, and she may be there considering how well received her film was. Aubrey Plaza would have a field day announcing Year of Dicks.
That's a great call.
This is
That's
true.
a great call.
I
All
like
right.
Anthony's answer. I say Year Dicks.
Wow. All right, here we go. All Quiet on the Western Front. I love how a movie with the sound quiet gets nominated for
Come
sound.
on, Batman. Come on, Batman.
We both picked that one, right?
Oh, Avatar. I thought Batman might have been next, and
Oh,
we got one.
that's amazing. Yeah, just the fact that
Elvis.
I got nominated for anything is great.
And
Where's Top Gun?
finally,
There
Top
we go.
Gun
Yep.
Maverick.
So no Babylon.
Batman doesn't stand a chance, but it's great that it's on there.
Yeah, no Babylon's kind of surprising. I don't
shocked
know.
at Babylon.
I mean, do you take Batman out for Babylon? Not really.
I would take out Avatar for Babylon personally.
Yeah.
Out of these, I'm shocked.
Interesting.
Oh, by the way, Justin says Idris Alba, but you that would be a good one. Maybe Christopher Walken could come out. And my Year of Dicks. That was a terrible Walken.
It really was.
I normally do a better Walken. I was trying to rush through it because I know we're pressed for time.
Sound like a constipated Italian.
Allison Williams and Riz Ahmed did the announcements this morning, says Stan.
Oh, okay.
Allison Williams, I guess what, Megan? That's an odd choice to me.
I used to work with Allison Williams' brother at SNY, the network that I work at. He was an anchor at our in our studio.
Interesting.
Oh, cool.
Huh.
Riz Ahmed.
Yeah. I agree with Justin. Was that Borat? Not Christopher Walken. Stan
Wow.
says worst Walken ever.
How do you kick people out again?
Tough crowd.
Yeah, I know,
Wow.
tough crowd. Sorry
All
that
right.
I've entertained you for 3 hours and then I drop one bad Walken impression.
Visual effects. So obviously they got to give it to Avatar. What else?
Avatar's my number one. On
Are you saying our predictions or our picks?
Wish list.
the wish list is Avatar. I mean, it's a visual effects flex. The entire movie exists
That's the whole point. Yeah.
because of visual effects.
Okay, I have Avatar, Everything Everywhere, Top Gun, Batman, and Hear me out, Batman, and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and
With the question mark.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and honorable.
That was
mention-
almost a better Walken.
honorable mention Tar. Okay, go on.
What do you got, John?
Are these predictions or are these
Wish list.
Wish list. Avatar, Decision to Leave, underappreciated visual effects compliment in that movie. 3 Top Gun, 4 I have Nope, and 5 I have All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, I could have seen Nope in there for
Yeah.
visual effects for sure.
My actual predictions though would be Avatar, Top Gun, The Batman, All Quiet, and Black Panther.
We have the same predictions.
Very interesting. I like this. D. Seibner says, scariest announcer, Francis McDormand saying my year of dicks and then 1,000-yard stare. All right.
I wanted to tell you about my grandfather's watch. It was up his ass.
The first time you got it right was saying it was up his ass, finally. All right. Here we go. Visual effects. We got All Quiet on the Western Front. Then
Right.
next is Avatar, The Way of Water,
Of course.
The Batman.
Uh-huh.
That's 2. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Top Gun Maverick.
5 out of 5.
Yep.
Not really a surprise on that
Not a
list.
surprise.
No wild cards.
All right. Writing for an adapted screenplay, which we got at least one writer on the stream, so this is going to be interesting.
Brian knows how important this category is to me.
Yeah. So what do we have this year for adapted screenplay? Let's go John first. We'll lead into Jeremy after that.
Wish list for adapted screenplay. I have, and I think these are all adapted. I wasn't totally sure on some of my movies this year. Bones and All, I think that's adapted. That would be my number 1. Number 2, I have All Quiet on the Western Front. Number 3, I have The Whale. Number 4, I have Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. And number 5, I have a small film called Brian and Charles, which I just thought was brilliant this year. That would be my number 5 adapted screenplays.
Interesting. Jeremy, what do you got for adapted wish list?
Bones and All is not adapted. I'm sorry, John.
Oh, dang it.
Written by my friend Daniel. David, sorry. Cut that. I'm still caught up on my Christopher Walken impression. I blame that. But I also don't think Marcel the Shell is adapted.
I actually looked that one up. It's adapted from a short. So
wasn't it from a short?
The category of adapted.
Okay, well then guess what? I'm swapping out one of mine live on air. I originally had The Whale, White Noise, Women Talking, Glass Onion, and and Living. But I'll swap out Living and shift everything down a smidge. I'm changing it to The Whale, Marcel, White Noise, Women Talking, and Glass Onion would be my 5 picks.
Jeremy, according to my good friend Wikipedia, Bones and All was written by David Kajganik based on a 2015 novel, Bones and All, by Camille DeAngelis.
That's what I thought too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Then I'm wrong across the board. Not just about it being adapted, but also about my friend's name.
I'm calling David right now.
Guess what? I get to change my answer again. I'm gonna say The Whale. These are my picks, not what I think will. The Whale, Bones and All, Marcel, White Noise, Women Talking is my 5.
Wow.
Yikes, Rooney. Then I have Bones and All on my original screenplay list, so I'm obviously boy is my face red.
All right, John, what do we got on our guest list now?
Guesses. The Whale, which it's got to be the favorite at this point. Number 2, I have Women Talking, a movie we haven't seen much at all tonight. Number 3, I have All Quiet. Number 4, Glass Onion. And number 5, another movie we haven't heard anything from tonight, She Said.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
Man, everything's really started going down the hill with that Christopher Walken impression. Now I'm getting so much hate in the comments.
Oh well, it's understandable.
For the record, I was joking when I said my friend. I did meet David at 2 back-to-back screenings of Bones and All, and we ended up talking for like an hour outside of the Aero Theater and exchanged contact information. And we've chatted a little bit since, but he's not a good friend, and I sincerely apologize for getting his name wrong.
Well, and the switching of the contact information was just so they could file the restraining order, but that's all right.
Yeah, he wanted to file that restraining order because I did my Christopher Walken impression for him, and he was like, "Yikes!"
All right, what are your guesses here, Jeremy?
Anthony. It's true. What a non-diverse panel we got tonight.
Because there's no microphones in the kitchen. Wait.
Oh. Redirect your hate comment.
I just expected that to come from you right after that.
Man,
my picks for what I think will actually be nominated is The Whale, Women Talking, Glass Onion, Living, and All Quiet on the Western Front.
I want to hear John's joke that he was about to say.
What was? Oh no, I was gonna make a flip joke because that sounded like a flip comment.
Yeah, a little bit.
That would have been a flip comment for sure.
Yeah, that was on purpose. Okay, so this one's interesting. I'm kind of curious now. Do either of you think there's any chance Bones and All gets its first nominee here?
I would fucking love it now that I've discovered, thanks to you guys, that it's adapted screenplay.
I don't think so.
All right, here we go. First up for adapted screenplay writing is...
Wait, you didn't get John's? John, did you do your...
Oh,
I did, yeah. I got The
You did your
Whale, Women
prediction?
Talking, All Quiet, Glass Onion, and She Said.
Yep,
Oh, you did say that. I'm sorry.
it was right before you.
Yeah.
All Quiet on the Western Front,
I'm having a
Glass-
midlife crisis live on air, and that's why I'm...
Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery,
Okay.
Living,
Okay.
Oh.
Top Gun Maverick,
Whoa.
That's adapted? What, from the first film?
I guess so.
It's adapted?
that counts as adapted? Is it just because it's
Sequel?
based on characters and stuff?
Yeah, that's baffling to me, to be honest. I would never suspected that would be adapted.
Not that it deserves anything. I mean, a writing nominee? That's weird.
I don't
Plane
think
goes up.
The plane goes up. Tom Cruise smiles.
Tom Green.
I'm out of here.
I want to hear Tom Green doing a Christopher Walken impression now.
Oh my gosh, I'm all topsy-turvy tonight.
Stump says all sequels are adapted. However, Top Gun script really shouldn't be in conversation here.
Yeah.
I guess technically that's correct, John. Yeah, but I'm shocked that got considered.
Tom Green Maverick.
Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine Tom Green in a cockpit being like, "Daddy, would you like some sausage?"
Oh man. And then casually landing and then walking by a picture of Val Kilmer and like rubbing it. Finally in this category, we got Women Talking. Is that the first time we've seen that tonight, or is that the second?
First
one.
First time.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Top Gun Maverick is the only one that's not on my. I'm 4 out of 5, and it. Wow,
No Glass
whale.
Onion. Oh no, Glass Onion's there.
No whale.
No.
That is
no.
shocking.
Whoa.
No whale.
How is that possible? That's
I'm
the
sorry.
favorite. That's the
I'm
new shock of the
sorry,
night, by the way.
I can't laugh at Sculder's joke because I'm so devastated.
How's
by
that possible?
The whale not being. That's that. What was
That's
that previous snub that I was upset about?
Park Chan-wook.
Park, yeah.
That's rough, but the whale
That's the favorite.
not being on. That's incredibly.
You know what? That's if the
For
whale's
Top
not.
Gun Maverick, by the way, that's what replaced
Right.
it. For Top Gun, they replaced the whale.
I'm gonna have to rethink my top 10 list for Best Picture because the fact that the whale is not here, I had it in Best Picture. I don't know that it's gonna be there.
They replaced the whale for Top Gun Maverick. That'd be like, hey, instead of this BLT, here's a grilled cheese sandwich.
That's atrocious.
Yeah,
That's a
Sarah
bad
Polley,
one,
the actress, Stefano, she directed Women Talking and did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
This one, like, we even had to question if it was adapted because it was a sequel. Like, this is a really bad take overall.
I mean, everything else in this category is fine. We knew Bones and All wasn't going to get in, and I agree with DC. I think Women Talking might be well, yeah. Without Whale in this category, I think Women Talking does take it. I mean, it's fucking in the title of the movie,
Right.
But and does deserve it. It is all dialogue. DC is correct.
There so far there have been 2 egregious snubs, and The Whale for adapted screenplay and Park Chan-wook for.
Yeah, those are both like
I mean,
not
that's
just
egregious.
snubs. Those
Yeah.
are knife through the heart, like clerical errors.
Yes, correct.
I think Women Talking gets this, and then All Quiet maybe is a close second. Not even really close, but
I don't know. Either that or Glass Onion would be a second.
Well, the only reason I'm saying All Quiet is because it's somehow gotten a ton of nominations.
A lot. I mean, between the hate in the comment section towards me and this new snub, I might need to go eat a pint of ice cream or something.
Oh boy! All right, I believe we're going to original screenplay now. This is going to be an interesting one after.
I can't get over that.
Reeling.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't get over it. I mean, as much of a snub as Park Chan-wook was, this one hurts so much more because Top Gun Maverick should not be in that. Like if it was replaced with like, I don't know, Bones and All, or something. I don't know. I just don't understand.
And it's gonna have bigger effects on its Best Picture aspirations too. If you have a lead actor and adapted screenplay, it makes it a lot easier to get in that top 10 for the Best Picture. I don't know that it's gonna be there now.
I don't know. I still think the love for Brendan might push it through.
Yeah,
but
I hope so.
I hear what you're saying.
And Chow too.
And Chow.
That's right. Yeah, she was nominated, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody pointed out about Glass Onion, and I get that. You're right. So it's like we could be saying the same thing about Glass Onion.
Right.
I just don't understand. I mean, at least Glass Onion is extremely well written. Top Gun,
yeah.
It's just unfathomable to me how anybody considered that over The Whale. It blows. Yeah. It's one of the biggest mysteries of the world right now.
Distorted Vision says we're going to need some sort of rule book for these nominations.
I'm out of missile. It's so funny because it's true. It's just like it'd be like somebody being like, you know what deserves best adapted screenplay? The Human Centipede. I'm dumbfounded. How something like this, people thought, yeah, really well written, a generic studio motion picture, really well written.
All right, so obviously that's egregious and stupid. Original screenplay, since we have now eclipsed 3 hours.
I only have two cards left though, so we're getting close.
Yeah, finally.
Let's go. I'm most passionate about.
Well, then let's have you go first for this one. What is your wish list?
Writing in general, but original screenplay I'm more passionate about than adapted. My wish list is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I think is a lock, and if there's a heaven and a god, it will win. 2 is After Sun, which will never stand the light of day at the Oscars, but should be nominated. 3 is Bardo. 4 is Banshees of Inisherin, and 5 is Bones and All. That's my wish list for writing.
Except
Bones and All
is not eligible.
So then I would say, because my 4th favorite film was The Whale, which is adapted. My 5th favorite film is Bones and All, which is also turns out to be adapted. So the new 5th pick for me would be Babylon, just based off of my favorite films of the year that are original screenplays. Babylon would take that spot. All right,
wish list from John.
Number 1, co-written by a Norse poet, The Northman. Come on.
There's a lot of things you voted Northman for that I, despite not loving it as much as you, I wish I would have considered. Specifically, perhaps this category.
Yeah.
And also specifically production design. I regret not including it.
The work that Eggers puts into his dialogue and like the research into the period in place is really he deserves awards just for that. I mean, it's incredible. Number 2, for me, it's about as close to a perfect screenplay as you can have as the Banshees of Inisherin. It's just perfect. There's not one thing wrong with that screenplay. Number 3, I have After Sun. Like Jeremy said, it's a pipe dream, but that would be my number 3. Number 4 would be Everything Everywhere All at Once, just about as original as you can get. And just spectacular. 5, I have Triangle of Sadness, just for format alone. It's just what he does. It's almost like a 3-part play. I mean, it's just I loved it. I loved it.
Before we get to our guesses, Dylan is asking, do you think Decision to Leave being snubbed from the Oscars is based off of the inconsistent distribution of the film throughout the world?
I'm not aware of that.
One of the comments is there was a Blu-ray of the film before it even came to the U.S. I don't know about that necessarily, because like the U.S. stuff, it's been playing in the major cities quite a bit.
I don't get screeners, and I was able to see it, so
I think even like regardless of whether it came out on Blu-ray before, I think as long as it had screen time in the year of 2022, it can be considered. Right.
Well, he's harping on the inconsistency aspect of it, is how many people could see it. I don't necessarily think that's it. It's just an odd category this year. Yeah, I think it's a straight up, like, it's Park Chan-wook again. When he announces he has a film coming out that year, you just write in the nomination, and it makes no sense that it's not here.
I agree with Stan as well. There is no heaven or hell, but Everything Everywhere will still win.
All right, so let's go with our guesses. John, what do you got for this one?
I got number 1, I have Banshees. Like I said, perfect screenplay. 2, I have Everything Everywhere. 3, I have The Fabelmans. 4, I have the heavily nominated Tar. And number 5, I got 2 of my favorite movies of the year. I got Triangle or After Sun, and I'm going to go with Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to go with Triangle on that one. Yeah. I don't think After Sun's going to be considered. Once again, John and I have the exact same list, except I have Everything Everywhere and Banshees swapped.
Gotcha.
I love Everything Everywhere so much.
That's good.
DC's got some good ones tonight.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love Martin McDonagh, but Everything Everywhere, if in a world where Everything Everywhere didn't come out this year, it would be a lock for McDonagh for sure in my book.
I agree. That's too.
Believe it or not, a category that Tar would actually possibly not over Banshees or Everything Everywhere, but Tar is that deserving to be in this category, unlike some of the other ones it was in this year or during this stream.
Yeah, my guess on this is that this is going to be a slugfest between Everything Everywhere and Banshees.
For sure.
McDonagh, the dialogue that he's known for, and everything that we got out of Banshees is something that you literally can't talk about without.
It's hard to top. It comes down to dialogue versus a completely original and crazy unique film.
I made a note this morning that said dialogue versus world building. You literally almost just said the exact same thing.
That's 100% correct. And the other thing that McDonagh does good, which makes this so tough because of how much I love Everything Everywhere, besides dialogue, and this is the case for all of his films, he has this very unique and unbelievably creative way of taking the most mundane, bare bones idea or plot and somehow making it edge of your seat invigorating throughout for a 2-hour movie. The concept of this movie is a guy doesn't want to be friends with another guy anymore.
And you never find out like there was a fight or anything.
That's the log line for the movie. And yet you're riveted for 2 fucking hours.
Yep.
And that's every single one of Martin McDonagh's films.
I'm gonna switch my guess. I think I'm gonna put Everything Everywhere All at Once at my number 1 too, because the category is original screenplay. Has there been a more original screenplay than that?
Yeah.
Ever in the last 5-10 years? I don't think there has been.
No, there hasn't, and in the last fucking 30 years. That's why it's my 4th favorite film of all time.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the favorite.
I think as much as I love Banshees of Inisherin, I would be very crushed if Everything Everywhere did not win this category.
Yeah.
All right, let's find out that Top Gun 2 is somehow nominated for this. Writing original screenplay, we have...
It's original and adapted. System.
It was originally adapted. We have The Banshees of Inisherin by Martin
No After
McDonagh.
Sun. Boo.
Yeah. Everything Everywhere by the Daniels. The Fabelmans. Tar. And Triangle of Sadness.
Wow. 5 out of 5. There you go, John.
Very good.
That is
Wow, look
Fair.
at Triangle of Sadness getting original
It's great.
screenplay and director.
Yeah, that's a
Great
big
night
deal.
for them. They gotta be in Best Picture now too.
That's amazing. I'm very happy for.
I think with those two, it would almost be impossible not to.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it was, which is great. I love that movie.
Great.
All right, I got to pull that down so I can scroll past picture.
DC's got some good ones tonight. He says, "Thank goodness it's not called Men Talking." That would be awkward. You know what's funny is I made a similar joke because when I saw a screening of it, a PGA screening of it that had a Q&A, and I said, "Oh goody! After watching Women Talking, I get to watch some more women talking."
All right, this is the big deal. What we always lead up to in most of these until we want to watch Sir Anthony Hopkins not win Best Actor. This is the big deal usually, and this is the one that gets, I believe, 10 nominations now. So this is going to be a little bit longer to talk about. And obviously, we've talked about most of the films throughout the night. I don't think we're going to go through a ton on the plot here, but let's go through your desperate wants there first, John.
Number one, this is more or less my top 10 list for the year. So number one, After Sun. Number two, The Northman. Number three, Bones and All. Number four, Decision to Leave. I mean, my God, how is that not nominated for international? 5, I have Babylon. 6, I have Pearl. 7, I have Elvis. 8, I have Triangle of Sadness. 9, I have movie I haven't mentioned tonight, I don't think, is X. Big year for Ty West. Man, oh man.
Yeah.
And number 10, I have Banshees of Inisherin.
Interesting. It would be a hell of a list if all of a sudden The Northman and Bones and All got nominated for this.
Can you imagine?
God, I would love Bones and All to get fly in there somehow.
Yeah. All right, Jeremy, what do we got?
Speaking of Ty West, he's moderating that Q&A at
for the new Cronenberg?
Yeah, Mia Goth and Brandon Cronenberg.
Dude,
Infinity
awesome.
Pool, nice.
Infinity Pool, that's right. I couldn't think of the name of it. So much like John, it's my top 10 movies of the year. Don't need to go into detail about them. We've discussed them all individually throughout the night. 1, Everything Everywhere. 2, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. 3, After Sun. 4, The Whale. 5, Bardo. 6, Bones and All. 7, Banshees of Inisherin. 8, Babylon. 9, White Noise. And 10, Tar.
What's that for?
What's that for, Sam Newman?
He did say kidding. And then Seibner says the Academy is waiting for Maxine, gonna pull the Return of the King on him.
Nice, good call.
That would be great. I can't wait for Maxine. That's going to be, especially with Mia Goth having her hand now in the writing for both Pearl and Maxine as well.
Yep.
That's going to be a hell of a finale to that trilogy for sure.
All right, this is where we get big on the guessing. We got 10 nominees here. Jeremy, why don't you go first? What do you think is going to come out and take these 10 spots?
So much like John, I think I'm going to change it slightly real time because of some of the previous nominations here. I originally had Everything Everywhere, which I think is still a lock. Fabelmans, I think, is still a lock. Banshees of Inisherin, I think, is still a lock. Top Gun Maverick, I think, is still a lock.
Probably.
Elvis, I think, is still a lock. Tar, I think, is still a lock. You got Kate Blanchett and you got Todd Field for director, so I think that's still in there. The Whale, I think, is still in there, despite not getting adapted screenplay. You got Chow and Fraser.
Brendan, yeah.
I had Avatar in there because of James Cameron. I think what I'm going to do is swap that out for Triangle of Sadness.
Interesting.
I'm going to keep Babylon, and I'm going to keep Women Talking.
Whew.
Interesting.
I mean, honestly, after what we've seen tonight, I don't know about Babylon. This is what I have been struggling with all day.
The two of those that I'm least convinced about is Babylon and Women Talking. I think it's possible for Women Talking to slip. I think it's possible for both of them to slip in there. But honestly, I'm trying to think. what would I swapped out Triangle of Sadness for Avatar for Triangle of Sadness. I went with all the Oscar baity ones, including a few that I really wanted to be in there, like Whale and Everything Everywhere and stuff like that. I'm not even sure what I would swap out Women Talking or Babylon with, to be honest.
I mean, it wouldn't happen, I'm sure, but After Sun is the big one that's gotten
Well,
a
I
lot of
would
love
love
over the
After
last few
to be in
weeks.
there, but that's not. You know what? Let's take out. This is probably a good decision, actually. Do I take out Women Talking or do I take out Babylon and replace it with All Quiet on the Western Front? That's going to be in there. And after what we've seen, and after them really rooting for it, possibly RRR. Now that I think about it, because they took it out of the international category.
They did, but I don't think it's going to get this.
I'm going to take out Babylon and put in All Quiet on the Western Front and keep Women Talking.
Wow.
So therefore, I think that's my final change. I'm flipping through real quick to see if I'm missing anything that I think really should be in there, or not really should be in there, but would be. I don't think so. I think I might have to lock that in. So just
all right,
recap real quick. Everything Everywhere, Fabelmans, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Top Gun, Tar, The Whale, Women Talking, Triangle of Sadness, and what was the last one I just said that I was swapping out?
All Quiet.
All Quiet. That's my 10.
It's looking like we're gonna have one difference. I'm making some last minute changes here too.
I've got one difference from Jeremy too. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I have Everything Everywhere, Banshees, Fabelmans, Top Gun, Elvis, Tar. I had All Quiet on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sticking with Avatar. That's 8.
Okay.
I am crossing off. This is me crossing off The Whale. The Whale is being crossed off.
Wow.
And I'm going with Triangle of Sadness in place of The Whale.
Okay.
Wow.
That's 9, right?
Number 10, I'm going with Women Talking.
Okay. So our difference is Avatar instead of The Whale, basically.
Avatar and The Whale, yeah.
Which
We're gonna
I
find
would
that
not
pretty
be
quick.
surprised, because it's James Cameron. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
If The Whale gets snubbed for that too after adapted screenplay, I will flip tables. Go ahead.
I had The Whale at number 9 on my top 10 list before the stream started, but due
Yeah.
to what I've seen tonight so far, I had to cross it off.
I had it at 8. Yeah.
So, not that I've been taking, these crazy notes like you all, but my list would be the exact same as Jeremy's, except for instead of Women Talking, I'm going to bet that they still go with Damien Chazelle.
I hope you're right, Ryan.
So you think
I hope
you're keeping Babylon in instead of All Quiet, right? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Instead
No.
of-
All Quiet and Babylon, but take out Women Talking.
Silencing women, not a good look, Ryan.
I'm a white cis male. Yeah, I get it.
I hope you're right, Ryan. I would love to see Babylon on this list. I don't think it's going to be there.
I don't think
All right,
it's there anymore either, sadly.
here we go. One at a time. All Quiet.
Okay.
Okay.
So far,
that was a smart replacement, Jeremy. Good job.
Thank you.
Here we go. Avatar.
Wow. I replaced that, right?
Oh, yeah, you did.
I replaced that with Triangle of Sadness, which could still be on here.
The power of Cameron.
I'm sad to see what is now, because I swapped out something for All Quiet. I'm now and the fact that they're both on here, I'm very sad to find out what is going to be missing.
Like Women Talking and Babylon could both be off,
Yeah.
which is, that would be pretty shocking in itself. All right, next up, Banshees.
Yep.
That was a good one. Elvis, we knew
Yep.
that. Everything Everywhere.
Yep. Thank God. It's gonna win.
The Fabelmans, of course.
Yep.
Tar.
Yep.
Wow, we jumped all the way to the letter T.
That's
Mm-hmm.
now. Hang on, before you even scroll a second. What's real quick? Top Gun could still be there. The Whale could still be there. Women Talking could still be there.
Mm-hmm.
Triangle of Sadness could still be there.
And there's no Babylon for sure.
No Babylon for sure, which we already assumed. No. Okay, wait.
Top Gun. Top Gun would be next. Yeah.
Top Gun will be next. Okay, keep scrolling.
Come on.
It's gonna be this.
Probably. God.
There it is.
All right, so that's that 8.
How many is that? Yeah.
That's
You
8.
got All Quiet, Avatar,
1, 2, 3,
Banshee,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So the next one,
Triangle of Sadness.
will it be Triangle of Sadness next? That will be 9, and then it's going to come down to The Whale versus Women Talking.
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to.
So
Or-
it's a Triangle.
Or
It's
no
going to say
triangle.
whale
no
and then
triangle.
women talking. Oh boy.
Wait, we're already missing Babylon, which oversight, but we also didn't think it was going to be there. And then what did I swap out? I swapped out something for All Quiet on the Western Front. And then the other swap was
You put in Triangle for.
I put in Triangle for Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen.
Go
Here
ahead.
we go. Oh.
Nice.
Okay. So my swaps were good.
Oh. So this is coming down to
So
the
both
whale
of
or
us-
women talking.
If it's Women Talking, I'm 10 for 10. If it's The Whale, then Jeremy is 9 for 10. We're both 9 for 10.
We'd both be 9 for 10 if it's the whale.
Yeah.
And as much as I support women talking, feminist over here, it only received 1 nomination. I know you crossed off the whale, John, but John, the whale at least has both actor categories going for it.
It does, but that not getting that adapted screenplay told me a lot. I mean, I hope it's there. I hope it's there. I don't think it will be.
This is very dramatic. I'm really sweating bullets over here. Go ahead, Brian.
All right. I'm just kidding.
And good night. It's been fun, everyone.
The last nominee for Best Picture is
I'll be devastated if it's not the whale. Oh my god.
That was a killer. It was a killer. Once it was not on adapted screenplay, it was just not going to be there.
That hurts. That hurts.
Yeah, that's a killer.
genuinely shocking.
I mean,
It's
I'm
gonna be-
glad Brendan got it and will still probably win regardless, but it's
an uphill battle for him now too.
I still think he's going to win, but I mean,
Well, who wins it over him, Colin?
that's really the only
Yeah.
close call in my book.
Austin Butler.
Oh yeah, Austin Butler.
yeah.
I forgot. It's going to be Austin Butler now.
It's gonna be Austin Butler.
Whale's not Best Picture and all that fucking bullshit with Lisa Marie Presley. I mean, rest in peace. But with that in consideration, it's going to be Austin.
I still say somehow Cate Blanchett's going to win Best Actor. My gosh!
I'm so happy with my cross off, but I'm unhappy.
You got 10 out of 10, John, right?
10 out of 10.
That's impressive. I'm
thrilled for Triangle of Sadness. I'm thrilled with their night. I mean, they have to be one of the biggest winners of the entire.
The fact I can't laugh at you right now, DC. I'm too death distraught. I just don't. I don't know. It's a huge oversight. I agree with John. I'm happy at the success. This is the surprise success for Triangle of Sadness tonight is great news. The snubs of The Whale in my top 5 films of the year, and the snub of Decision to Leave are two that cut real deep.
Big story.
And how about the phenomenon that is RRR getting 1 nomination?
And it's only for original song.
And they fucking pushed hard for that, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all they got.
Certainly did.
All right. So, I mean, obviously, we got to ask the final question: What wins Best Picture here? Because in my mind, I don't see how this at this moment. I'm putting 95% chances to Everything Everywhere.
Yeah, I don't see how it can't.
The only contender is Banshees. That's the only contender.
Yep.
I think Banshees, and then in a third, maybe possible slot in like a Green Book type of way would be Fablemans.
Yeah, exactly. If they choose to make it Spielberg's night, which you never know, it's the Academy. That could happen. That would be bad. That would be bad.
Sam Newman is correct. India gets no respect, especially with the Oscars.
That was
I don't
rough
know.
at the end.
It
Oh
was
man.
really rough. I mean, overall, I'm happy with. I mean, look, Everything Everywhere got a lot of love tonight, and that's my favorite movie of the year.
And
So
that's the main reason why I think it's 95% locked.
That's great news. So for that reason, I'm happy. I'm also happy about Triangle of Sadness, like we said. There was another surprise early on that I can't remember off the
Tar in a lot of technical categories that I didn't understand. Cinematography for Tar, that was probably the fourth or fifth biggest surprise of the night. Yeah.
There was a surprise early on. Oh, Paul Mescal. That's
Paul
really
Mescal.
great.
That was a great surprise. No Detweiler, an actress. That was a little bit surprising.
Yeah, that was a snub for sure. I don't know. I guess I'm mixed. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff that happened for sure. Triangle of Sadness.
I don't see Elvis winning.
I don't see Elvis.
They're gonna get a few technical categories in Austin Butler, but they're in the top 5. That's for sure. I think at this point.
You know what? I'm sorry. I know how much you love Elvis, and I also, again, rest in peace, Lisa Marie Presley. But if he gets it now over Brendan,
yeah,
on top of not getting nominated,
yeah,
for either adapted screenplay or best picture, that would be the ultimate gut punch, because Brendan poured his fucking heart in that role.
And it was like the definition of a comeback story for everything he's gone through.
There's really not a better story there.
I'm already gut punched that it wasn't nominated in those 2 categories, and if he lost that award, I would be crushed for him.
Well, hopefully it's not going to be the Whales night, but hopefully it's Brendan Fraser's night. I hope so. And that's coming from somebody that loved Elvis.
That's really the only redemption to the awful nomination selection would be for him to at least still win that award.
Yeah. It's so hard. It's so hard to win an actor category when your film is nowhere else. I've said that a few times tonight, but it's just the Whale is. It's got supporting actress and lead actor. Right. That's it.
Yeah.
Makeup too. It's gonna win makeup. It should win makeup.
Oh yeah, it's gonna win makeup.
So we'll see.
Wowzers.
Oh, now we have to wait 2 months, right? When are the awards?
Oh, by the way, announcement: the Oscars are on my birthday this year, March.
Wow, nice.
Sunday, March 12th. So I wish I was a little more. I'm still excited about them. I always am. After this, I'm a little disappointed at some stuff, but it is a particularly fun year for the Oscars since they happen to fall on my birthday.
Nice.
This is true. Gosh, the end of that, man, that did not
go
good. The way I expected.
John likes it because he got 10 out of 10.
Listen, I didn't want the Whale to be snubbed, but I sniffed it. If we did Best Picture first, I would not. My list would have been different. But
same. My list would have like I said, you got 10 out of 10. I got 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
But the swaps I made were very crucial for me based on doing Best Picture last.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sam Newman said earlier that he's happy about Jamie Lee Curtis too.
That feels like a force. If she wins, that feels like a bit of a force.
Yeah.
Well, and she's another one, like I said about Michelle Yeoh. I don't know how many Jamie Lee Curtis opportunities there will be.
I know. I don't see it happening a lot for her anymore either. You're right. I'm happy she got nominated at the very least, though.
Me too.
Hey, I might do a live stream on Oscar night, Anthony. Yeah, for real. Thank you for the early happy birthday wishes.
A drunken cabin stream.
Yeah. I mean, Avatar. Okay, not to harp on it too much, but most of the things that are in the Best Picture category, I'm for. I do think Women Talking was a great film. I think Avatar, for technical achievement alone, deserves to maybe be on there. I loved Tar. I loved Banshees. I loved Fabelmans. I loved Everything Everywhere. Elvis, I'm iffy on, but we'll let it slide. I think if anything needs to be taken out, Top Gun. which also didn't deserve. Top Gun robbed the whale twice, actually.
You're
I'm
right.
just realizing that.
Yeah.
Top Gun robbed the whale in 2 of the most important categories in this year's Oscars, and I'll never forget. Fuck Top Gun.
So the big winner tonight, Scientology.
I didn't like it anyways. Everybody fucking loves that movie. Fuck you. You still. When a big budget studio motion picture takes it from the little guy, I'm sorry. I'm actually genuinely upset. That is not right. I mean, I know I shouldn't get upset about the Oscars, and I'll be fine in about 30 minutes. But
is this the young Jeremy or the now Jeremy getting angry?
This is now Jeremy. He just learns to shake it off a lot quicker.
There you go.
I realize.
Call your good friend Daniel or David or whatever.
But no, seriously, it's a big budget studio picture that I know a lot of people loved it, but it robbed a really amazing, heartwarming indie film from 2 awards that it should have gotten.
Yeah.
It's everything that's wrong with Hollywood today, but at the same time, it was pretty fucking exhilarating in a theater, man. I gotta say, I mean, it was. Does it belong on a
much like Avatar?
Yeah.
Will I ever watch it again outside of a theater?
It's spectacle filmmaking. It's like, it's flash in the pan, but those are the movies that people went to see this year. There was those 2 movies, Avatar and Top Gun. And it will, in a much smaller case, Everything Everywhere,
Yeah.
For what it did and what it was.
Stan's coming to my Oscar party. That's right.
Well, and the sad thing, to kind of bookend this a little bit, at the very beginning, we talked about the difference between like box office winners and the Oscars, not necessarily, being the people that shine a light on those big ones. It's more of a love of cinema day. And when you got those box office winners coming in.
Listen, I stand by what I said at the beginning. It's not something to get upset over, despite what I just expressed. I'm already over it. I'm already over it 2 minutes later. But I mean, it is upsetting. But we do. I have to remember that I know how the Academy works, and I know that true lovers of film do not. I mean, if you're being recommended a film by Ryan, that's a very important element. DC says, first of all, he spelled it wrong, but Aronofsky is doing just fine. That's true, but this is not Aronofsky's night. It's Brendan's night, and like we just discussed, it being robbed from those 2 categories really jeopardizes Brendan's what was formerly a lock.
I believe I said early on in this stream, I said I think the Academy is going to give Top Gun a lot of love. Although they didn't give it to Cruise for actor, they did push a lot of Top Gun on us tonight.
They put a lot.
I think if they gave a nomination to Cruise, there would have been a lot of pissed off people.
I really felt it in my bones. I really thought they were going to do Cruise. Just to have him there.
We were shoved Top Gun and Tar down our throats all night tonight.
At least it wasn't my year of dicks.
Well, we gave a new definition to being tarred and feathered tonight, and unfortunately, Christopher Walken was not able to make the experience. When we are nearer,
get back up,
because it was awful, Jeremy. It was bad.
I'm gonna second guess coming back on this show.
When we get closer, we will see if we can try to do something with the 2 of you maybe reacting to who wins. But John will obviously be a little busier once spring training starts, so we'll figure something out.
Although I think I'm free Oscar night. I've already looked that up. I always like to make sure I'm free on Oscar night.
Nice, very nice. I mean, it's a Sunday night. It should be.
I'll be having a party and I'll be really drunk, so I won't be free. I'll be live streaming though, probably, and Stan's coming over apparently.
Now that it is 1:35 in North Carolina, let's let John get some sleep. Thank you guys both for coming on here. If you don't, please follow both of them on social media. All of the links are in the description below. It's weird to promote the Mets, so I don't know.
I tweeted out the link to this tonight, to this live stream, to my like 8,000 Met fan followers. It has almost 2,000 views and 2 likes. It's you and John Peters.
Good old reliable John Peters.
People from the Discord, thank you.
Unlike you, John, I think I lost followers tonight. But that's okay. I'll pick them back up at some point.
Anyways, I appreciate everybody hanging out. This has been a long stream, obviously, and many of you have been here for the entire thing. So you are incredible. This has been a really fun night, and to that, I have to say thank you to both of you. I've been wanting to make this happen for months, and you guys absolutely made it worth it. I can't say anything more about. First of all, just keeping your eyes off of social media today. It had to have been difficult unless you're at a family reunion, but
or in a 6-hour graphics Zoom.
That's true. So thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in 2 days. See you on Thursday.